Question. How do we call him? He gave us a signal.
What up, Gotham Guardians and Arkham Adversaries? It's your boy Trey of the Bat Channel, and we are live from the Bat Cave. But before we begin, ladies and gentlemen, first off, no spoilers in the chat, okay? No spoilers. This is a no spoilers, the Batman review and first reactions. It's going to be a quick show because obviously there's not going to be a ton that we can tell you without spoiling something. So please, all my mods in the chat, if anyone tries to spoil stuff, it's gonna be on you guys to like shut them down quick. Okay, get rid of their comments. So no spoilers. If you're here to see, is it worth going to see the Batman without ruining anything, this is the show for you guys tonight. So before we begin, let me bring in the guy I have to convince if it is worth seeing the Batman or confirming his doubts. Let's bring in Super Bro Corey. Super Bro Corey, where you at?
What's up, everybody? How we doing tonight?
Doing good, man. It's it's kind of crazy. Like 9 o'clock was like just perfect because you literally called me and you're like, dude, where the hell are you? Because usually we get on the show.
Well, not quite. What happened was, so obviously I knew we had a show tonight. However, a few of my coworkers and friends from work wanted to go out. So I was like, all right, I could go out tonight for a little bit, but I have to make it an early night. So I'm already a few Jack Daniels in and a few beers in tonight. So cheers, everybody. Hope you guys are having a fantastic Friday night.
Fantastic.
So, so obviously I got the alert saying, all right, we have about a hour until showtime. So I looked at the clock. I was like, all right, time to go, boys. So I'm out of here. Have a good night. And got here before you are. I've been pretty much sitting in this StreamYard all by myself for almost an hour until you came in the last probably, 5 minutes until showtime?
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I got bored, so I ended up. I jumped onto Zod Rider's live stream, which sounds like he's having a great show tonight as well.
Oh damn, Zod's doing a show tonight.
But his is a spoiler review, so I was only kind of in and out. And the second I heard them starting to talk about stuff, I'd pull back because I wasn't sure. But a few of my friends actually tonight are. Watching the Batman right now as we speak. Their show started at 8. So I told them if we're still on, make sure you text me and tell me how you liked it because they also have to try and convince me. But you, my friend, it's even more important for you to convince me. And just a reminder out there, everybody, the Batman No Spoiler Review and Reaction. I have the banner below so we can remind everybody, let's not be a Preston. Let's not be a Preston.
I like how, no one knows who Preston is. But you know, Corey, I'm gonna have you tell him what Preston is, because we're gonna keep that a thing. That, like, don't pull a Preston.
Yeah, so Preston was one of my employees once upon a time, and great guy, huge Batman fan, also a huge Spider-Man fan, and we were talking about Star Wars. I guess what was the number 7 one? What was it called
Force
again?
Awakens.
Yeah, The Force Awakens, and we had talked about some theories, but he saw it obviously opening night. He's a big movie guy, sees everything opening night, and the next day at work he comes in and he said, "Yeah, Han Solo died," and well, shit, you know, you just ruined the movie. And to me, Han Solo is my favorite Star Wars character. So I was devastated, and hashtag don't pull a Preston. And it's actually trending right now. We got don't pull a Preston. So yeah, but from what I was listening to with Zod Rider, he's doing a great show tonight. You know, I didn't have much time to really listen to hear his take. It was mainly Bat Dan put her name in, Ashley, who was talking tonight, but or when I was watching for a little bit, but yeah, it seemed it was an interesting review from her standpoint. So I'm curious what your review is. But that being said, my boy Trevor.
Oh, Trevor, man, you freaking rule, bro. Thank you, Trevor. Already kicking it off tonight because I love the TBC theme. Thank you, dude. That means a lot. Yeah, I worked hard on that theme, and you know, it was one of those. Sometime we'll dive in deep into that Bat Channel theme. I think it'd be fun. Or should I do it right now for Trevor, because he's the one that he always loves the Bat Channel theme. So I'll do it real quick for you. So I think there was a Zack Snyder's Justice League competition going on. It was kind of similar to the poster scene, but they were doing like the Power of Art movement charity thing, where they were like creating different forms of art like that people could put in. And one of the categories was music, to create like a Justice League theme. And man, I struggled so hard with that entire project, because it was like, well, one, you know, this is the career I want to do, and like I take it very seriously, but it was like, how do I create a theme that is going to pump me up for Justice League, you know, and for Zack Snyder's Justice League and stuff like that. And I like tried a million different things. I listened to the old animated series Justice League themes and Justice League Unlimited, you know, with the ding, 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 wow, wow, you know, all those like bum, da, 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 da. And I couldn't come up with anything that I liked or was proud of. And I was like coming to the point where it's like the competition where you have to submit your music was like 2 days away, and I had nothing that I was happy with. So I'm like sitting at the piano. It's like 4 a.m. and I have to go to work that day at 7. And I was just like, I gotta give up. Like, nothing's coming to me. I literally go to bed. I lay down. My mind is running, like nothing's working. And then I finally fell asleep from like the exhaustion of trying to think of a great theme. And all of a sudden I had a dream of the, you know, dun, 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 dun. And I was like, brain like woke up, and I was like, wrote the song in like 30 minutes, you know, doing all the editing and stuff for another hour. It was like being like wired, like this is it. And it got great reception from everyone. Everyone seemed to really, really like it, but I didn't win the competition. I was like, oh man, well, I'm proud of it. I worked very hard for it, but I would like to use it for something, because I do actually enjoy it. And then it was like, when I decided to create a YouTube channel, I was like, well, I need an opening theme song so people will remember it's a brand thing, right? And all of a sudden I was like, that's it. That's what I'm going to use. And I'm going to tweak it a little bit to add like there's a little Beautiful Lie reference in there. If you guys can't tell, maybe listen for that next time, Trevor H. But there you go, because I know you love the Bat Channel theme. So that's the little story behind that. Thank you so much, Corey. Can we play this man something cool for Trevor?
I'll tell you what. I can't remember. Let me see. Who was it? Glorious Pictures said tonight, are we seeing the Batman theme through these dut-das? And I think Trevor was probably the first one who did the dut-da, who started that. But there was tons of people who was doing the dut-da tonight. The Batman Who Laughs, Batwoman, Bat Fanatic, Baby Girl. So he started a little thing as well. But all right, let's give him this one.
Well.
That smile's always
it always cracks me up. No, thanks, Trevor. And that being said, Store the Snyder verse guy, he says, I love the background, Corey. You know, you guys all know I'm a Superman fan first, and I don't get me wrong, I like Batman, and I will watch Batman films and everything like that. However, I'm a very loyal person. And, you know, I don't like change. And to be honest with you, like Spider-Man even, you know, I didn't like Andrew from the get-go because Tobey Maguire was my Spider-Man.
I remember that.
So I didn't see any of Andrew's Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man, in the movie theaters. Was that a mistake? You know, rewatching those movies, absolutely it was a mistake. However, I hold a grudge, and you know, it's not what I want. So, you know, I'm going to be frustrated throughout the entire movie. I took my time and I eventually saw it. So I guess for you tonight, Trey, you know, it's really your job to, I see 3 levels of this. One, obviously we know that Sunday is a spoiler review.
Yeah.
So in other words, that means I pretty much need to watch it tomorrow, or go to the movie theaters tomorrow or early Sunday morning. So to be prepared for that. So it's either, you know, there's 3 options. Watch it this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Wait for HBO Max.
Yeah.
Or 3, you don't need to see it at all.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you have a point there. Corey, did I notice someone else had a super chat?
Yep. Let's see here. Here it is. Andrew
Caselli, dude. It's awesome to see you, Andrew. God, I feel like it's been forever since I've seen you. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. I do really appreciate it. Andrew says, I saw the movie and I enjoyed it, but it's not my favorite. My top 3 I prefer are Batman 1989. Oh, okay. Batman Begins and Batman Mask of the Phantasm. Interesting. You even threw an animated film in there with Kevin Conroy.
Man, I tell you what, I love to see Batman 1989 as people's favorites, to be honest with you. Really? And it's funny because me and Batman were talking about this in Zod's chat not too long ago. Because I absolutely love Michael Keaton as Batman, because again he's the first Batman I saw. Batman. Yeah, exactly.
He's the Toby Batman,
and that's what I said to Batman. I was like, you know, for me, it's, you know, don't get me wrong, Batfleck is my favorite Batman by far, but Keaton is my nostalgia Batman. He's the one that I think of, you know. So let's get a good one for Andrew tonight. How about this one right here, Trey?
Look, it's all a bit technical, but the important thing is that my company's future is secure. Right, Mr. Fox?
Right you are, Mr. Wayne. Didn't you get the memo?
That's phenomenal. Thank you so much, Andrew. Yeah, I mean, hey, dude, those are all good choices. I you know, first off, you know, yeah, it's tough. My wife did it. I was hoping to have Wonder Wife on the show with me tonight, but she was busy. She had to go shopping with her mom. Literally, like when the movie ended, you know, she went shopping with her mom, and I like raced home to be able to do a show. Midwest, bro, how's it going? It's so good to see you, man.
And awesome I love you here, bro. I love the Chicago under the bill. So
Chi-town, baby.
We have a lot of Chicago people, man. I dig it.
I didn't realize that lately. We have hey, we'll have our Chicago fan. We from the Chicago area.
You know, and to be honest with you, the fact that Midwest 93 is here right now with us, rather than watching that there's a Killer Bulls game on tonight. So
Oh, is there really?
it's
Bulls are
it's
apparently doing really well tonight.
they're
well this season.
Yeah, it's the first time playing the Bucks since Grayson Allen intentionally hurt Caruso. So the United Center is, I'm sure, or if it's still going on, absolutely rocking tonight.
So, guys, before we begin, go ahead and if you can support our channel. It really does mean a lot to us. You can do it through the super chat, like you saw Andrew and Trevor H do already, but you can also help us out by smashing that like button, sharing this video, go on Twitter and like tweet it real quick, get your friends into the chat, because the more people we have in the chat, the more fun it is. You know, we get to hash out ideas. Now, obviously, we're not going to go over spoilers. We're just going to talk about the general reaction of the film, and if it's worth seeing, if it's worth spending $10 to $15 or $20 if you are like me and went to go see in a Dolby theater, you know, if it's worth that time and money. And, you know, me trying to convince Corey, who is loyal, and like I said, I'm a huge Batfleck fan. I wasn't at first. When I first heard Ben Affleck got the role, you know, I wasn't for it. But then when I saw him, what, Corey?
I called that shit.
Yes, you did. You did. But when I first saw Ben Affleck in BVS and him running towards the city, I was like, that's my Bruce Wayne, you know, and the angry face and in the suit. I was like, Dark Knight Returns, my thing, right? So seeing this film and knowing all the situation that happened with Ben Affleck put me at reservations with this film. But my wife kind of said to me, Trey, just go in watching this movie, like forget all the drama behind it and the shady shit, and go in as a Batman fan and watch it. So that's what I did. I went as a Batman fan, and I caught a lot of cool things as a Batman fan, a lot of stuff pulled from different comics. But we'll talk about it. We'll talk about some of the things we saw on Sunday. We'll really dive in deep. So yes, please like, share this video, get your friends into the chat. We'd love to have as many people in there as possible. So it'd really help us out, and subscribe, you know, because we're trying to get to 2K eventually. I think we're close to 1,400. So no, not 1,400, 1,300 subscribers. So that's
Just
cool
remember,
stuff right
don't
there.
Pull a Preston. Don't
pull a Preston. Yes, don't pull a Preston. No spoilers. And like I said, mods, keep an eye out for that. If you see someone trying to spoil stuff, shut it down. Igor, my man, how's it going? I have both Justice League anime themes along with multiple DC anime film themes, Brave and the Bold, as ringtones and alarms on my phone. Yeah, I have it all on that awesome vinyl back there with the music of DC Comics. Some great stuff on that. Hashtag make the Batfleck movie. Absolutely. Which is why I wore my shirt to kind of show support for that, but also, like I said, to enjoy the Batman film. Now, Corey, let's go ahead and go to our next slide. So the Batman, overall story, thoughts, character development, pacing, tone, choices, all that stuff. I'll put it this way. I thought the film was pretty good. It was a very solid film. I'm not going to tell you my rating because that's going to be for the spoiler review on Sunday, but I think it was a solid film. Not my favorite, but solid. A good start to possibly this trilogy that's going to happen. The overall story, I will say, if you break the film into like 3 acts, I think even Batdan said this, and I totally caught what you were talking about. And I didn't even remember it until it happened in the film, where I was like, something kind of changed, something tonally kind of changed in the film that I was like, I'm not sure if it's vibing with me or not. But the first act, like seriously, the first opener of the film was really, really cool. When they say this is a detective noir kind of film, it absolutely is. You know, they do the narration. It's Pattinson talking over the film, and you know, kind of sharing his thoughts. It's very much like a comic in a sense, where you're kind of hearing his thoughts as he's going through the night as Batman. And they did it very well in the first act. Like, you could definitely tell it was a different type of Batman that we haven't really seen before, which was great because you want like a fresh take, right? Like you want someone to bring their own little spin on it. And when they said they wanted to do that detective noir, you got it. You definitely got it. It was there. Second act, some good scenes happen, some good stuff, some good action, and even some very intense moments. But the third act, yeah, something changed in the third act. I'm not saying it was bad. It just changed in the way where all of a sudden it kind of took you out of the moment, where you're kind of like, oh, that felt weird. Like, rather than being like in it, you're watching the film and just experiencing it, and you're connected, you're invested in the film. All of a sudden, something in the third act happens where it takes you out, where you're all of a sudden you're just kind of like, that was weird, and it kind of is hard to get back in at that moment because you're also kind of coming towards the end of film. In terms of pacing, like the 3-hour film, I will definitely tell you this. It is very much a David Fincher style film. So when Matt Reeves said that's kind of the inspirations he was pulling from, Seven, Zodiac, Chinatown as another film, you definitely get that feeling. There's not a ton of action that you're used to maybe in a Batman film. There's definitely some normal Batman things you get. Like, of course, you get a car chase scene. Like, I think we were all expecting that. You saw that in the trailers. That's not a spoiler. You get a car chase with a Batmobile. I will say that Batmobile scene was like one of the coolest like Batmobile chases I've ever seen. But they started that scene in a weird way for me. That wasn't what happened in the third act, but the way they started it is like kind of one of those things like, why did that happen? Like, that makes no sense. When you kind of take out the realism of the film rather than just being like it's a fictional film, like things, it kind of felt like how they get to the Batmobile use is kind of like that was just awkward, like kind of that silly film logic where like we're just gonna stand there and all of a sudden, but the Batmobile scene, phenomenal. Character development, yes, there is some good character development, especially through some of the villains. And not only that, Batman, he goes through a character development, but it's done in a way where it takes a while. It's not like very, it feels like it's not very gradual, where like you're kind of seeing the changes. It's kind of like the third act happens and it's there. He realizes, the next step to becoming better, for the next film possibly. Pacing, like you said, yeah, pacing was pretty slow. If you're into kind of that following a story and obviously the riddles and like trying to figure out the question, the answer, it's very much that type of film. Riddler trophies, it kind of feels like that, like where you're just constantly searching for all the Riddler hints, or like figuring out what he's after. And the directorial choices with cinematography, some of the cinematography, especially in the first and second act, spectacular. The cinematography of the Batmobile chase is awesome. The cinematography of the opening scenes, like literally the first 30 minutes are pretty cool. Something you haven't really seen in a Batman film before. And in terms of maybe directorial choices with the characters, I'm not sure some of them were what I liked. Like, I'm not sure it was like perfect for me. Like the film, I don't think is a cinematic masterpiece, like all the way through. There's a few issues I had with it. But like you said, it's a solid film. Like, it's pretty good. They did some good stuff. But it was like one of those scenes where like brilliant choices on one end and then kind of interesting choices in another that kind of were like, was like, it kind of felt like that didn't belong there. Or maybe it was something like, clearly we're kind of teasing something that is about to happen and then it never happens, and especially if you're a comic book fan and you've read all the Batman comics, not all of them, but like if you read a good number, you're gonna feel like what's coming because of those, and they're gonna take in a direction that doesn't make sense for what they were setting up. So that kind of threw me off a bit. It's one of those curses. I feel like if you're a real comic book fan, sorry, hashtag not a real DC fan, according to Peacemaker fans. It's one of those, if you are a DC fan and you've read a lot of Batman comics, especially the comics that they told you were some of the inspirations behind this film. Some of it, yes, some of the comics that they said really influenced the film are there, but one of the ones that I felt like, because I read it today, to kind of get me geared up to it, one of those I think was inappropriate to say it inspired the film. I really don't get a feeling that it inspired the film, and that was one of my favorite Batman comics by Darwin Cook, Batman Ego. There wasn't really anything, at least that I noticed, from there that was like, oh dude, that's like, they're totally pulling from that, they're taking from that. There was actually other comics that they didn't mention that I literally looked at my wife and was like, oh my God, I can't believe they added that. Like, that's crazy, that's cool. Like, I've always wanted to see that take. I won't, like I said, I don't want to say what those are, because the moment I tell you which comics they really pulled from, you're going to start to get an idea of the story that they did. But there was definitely some comics they didn't say. If you watch the Bat and the Cat trailer, at the end of the trailer, they showed you, I think, 3 comics: Batman Year One, Batman Long Halloween, and Batman Ego. And yeah, they definitely pull some stuff from the Long Halloween and Batman Year One, especially with some of the looks of the characters. I don't think there was anything in the way of like how Zack Snyder kind of directs some of his superhero films where it's like straight out of the comics. I didn't really notice much of anything like that. There was one thing that I kind of noticed, and it was very interesting how they did it. Is this really a spoiler? I don't think this one's a spoiler. The Wayne Tower looks like something from Greg Capullo's comics. That Greg Capullo was definitely an influence on some of the artwork for this film, because it Gotham, Wayne Enterprise looks like a bat tower. Like, you can kind of see how the tower forms like ears, in a sense. And I thought that was really cool. That was like one of those scenes that got me. I was like, oh, like, I totally know what they're doing there. That's Greg Capullo artwork right there.
Wait a second. You're
What?
Batman. Put that phone back up.
Say cheese.
You're Batman.
Hey, fuck off. But yeah, I mean, there is some character development going on. There was definitely some characters who I felt like shined more than others. Corey, can you go to our next slide? So, first off,
Hey Trey, before we get
yes.
into that real quick,
Yeah.
we have some great comments coming in.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask about that because I realized I was going on a rant.
So Batman asked Trey Hansmith, Syl and Zodwriter were upset that Batman used doors. Did that bother you?
Yes, it kind of did. This was a Batman who didn't care to be sneaky and elements of surprise, elemental, they really reference how people are afraid of him. And like I said, they use that in the opening sequence, how people perceive Batman, which, like I said, I loved that. But when Batman came around, he wasn't really element of surprise. It was, I'm fucking here. And maybe it was ego, but they kind of define it as in he just really doesn't freaking care. Like he knows just his presence is scary.
I would tell you this, and again, for those who have just tuned in, I have not seen the Batman yet. It's Trey's job to try to talk me into seeing it, or wait and for HBO Max, or don't need to see it at all. But just reading Batman's comment here, were you upset Batman used doors? And for me, just hearing this already, fuck yeah, dude. Like nobody wants to see Santa, walk through a door. We want to see Santa come through the chimney.
Yeah, I mean,
we want to see, him busting through walls. Oh yeah.
I mean, you want to see the terrifying element, the more of the shock of Batman, right? Like he often catches the villains by surprise, and that's part of what develops his legend, his scariness. And in this one, he was more of, it's me. You're afraid of me. Like if you see me, you're afraid of me simply because you can't stop me. I'm coming for you. You know, he was like the train that you couldn't stop.
So one thing I will mention is Batman followed up a little bit later and said, but Batman used doors in the Arkham games.
Sure, but I mean, that's also video games. But not only that, like Batman still, had special tactics, sitting on the gargoyle, waiting for the guy to come underneath him as you get him, you do the stealth takedowns, and there wasn't really stealth takedowns in this. I mean, there were a few, but like he was very much heavy brawler, like stomping around. Like there was never really, I mean, even he kind of just, like I said, yeah, he just uses his presence. And maybe it's because it's year 2 and he doesn't really feel like he has to do that anymore. Like he doesn't have to do the stealth takedowns. Like people just know the legend of Batman, or as they call him in this film, and this isn't a spoiler either, at least I don't think. They call him, he's Batman, but he also goes by another name. He's Vengeance, which you heard that in a trailer too. So I'm not spoiling that. That was in a trailer. Penguin.
Don't pull a Preston, Trey.
No, I didn't, because it's not really a big deal. It's not a big reveal that he's Vengeance. Like,
yeah,
it was in a trailer.
Oh, he said Vengeance.
Yeah.
Midwest 93 said it felt longer than Justice League.
Well, I mean, I would hope so, because like Justice League, what was Justice League? Not even 2 hours.
Well, he could be referring to Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, sure. I could see where you would say it felt longer. I mean, like I said, it's not a lot of action. I mean, when the action hits, it's good action for the most part, but like it's not very fast paced at all. And even when it hits the action part, the action is really the fastest moment of the entire movie is probably the Batmobile scene. Yeah. It's probably the Batmobile scene.
Batgirl says,
yeah, it's a solid film, but not a masterpiece in my opinion. I would agree with that. I would say it's a very solid film, not a cinematic masterpiece at all. I mean, like I said, there's moments that are very, very cool, but like there wasn't anything that was like, I didn't leave. I think it's one of those films that I'm gonna need to watch like 5 times to like catch all the cool little things that Matt Reeves probably added, because it seemed like there was a lot of hidden stuff. But like when you're watching it in the theater for the first time, you're not going to be able to catch everything. I mean, there was a lot I felt like I caught because I'm a DC fan, but they didn't really pay off in the end for some of them. Oh my man. Oh, hey, what's up, brother? It's good to see you. Guys, if you haven't already, I know some of you are just joining us in. We're doing a non-spoiler quick review on the Batman. Basically, me trying to convince Corey, who has doubts about the film, if it's worth seeing or not, or if he can wait for HBO Max. So please, no spoilers in the chat. And because some of you are new in the chat here, please share this video, get your friends into the live chat with us, because the more the merrier. Let's make our Bat family bigger, and hit that subscribe button, because your support really does mean a lot. And we have super chats available, which helps us even more put money back into the show to make it even cooler with our production. So,
and since you mentioned Peacemaker, why don't you tell us about the Peacemaker TBC Watch PM challenge.
Did I say Peacemaker? Oh,
You
maybe
did
those
say
are-
Peacemaker
Oh,
earlier.
well, so the quick thing with the Peacemaker, we were recently called, I did a Peacemaker reaction to the Justice League cameo, didn't have a good reaction to it. I didn't watch the show at all. I only saw before that cameo the opening scene and how they handled the Rick Flag death in Peacemaker, and it didn't look like a show I was interested in. I didn't care for the type of comedy they were trying to tell, so I wasn't gonna watch it. But when I heard about this cameo and my subscribers told me, hey, react to the scene, I reacted to it. I was honest about it. I didn't like it, and I got attacked pretty hardcore from a lot of Peacemaker and James Gunn fans saying I'm not a real DC fan, and that James Gunn's Peacemaker was a cinematic masterpiece, and I'm wrong and I can't even have an opinion because I didn't watch the show. So I put out a Peacemaker challenge that says for every $100 that is donated to FitOps, and you message me the receipt using hashtag TBC Watch PM, so the Bat Channel Watch Peacemaker, you send me that receipt on Twitter, it's in the description, all that information, or you could send it through Super Chat. If you're going to do Super Chat, though, you have to use hashtag TBC Watch PM with your Super Chat, so I know the money goes to that, because I have some subscribers that are like, we don't want you to watch that. Currently, I think we're at how many, Corey, for dollars?
Not much, buddy. The go figure, the true DC fans of Peacemaker, I think are only like 17 in, something like that.
Oh yeah, I think we're only in 17 in. So FitOps, it's John Cena's charity that helps our Army veterans get back into the workforce through, fitness and stuff like that. You can look at it. I have the link of FitOps. You can do research on them, but it is John Cena's charity. He even has the link on his Twitter account. So it's for anyone who wants us to watch Peacemaker, and we would do a live watch party show. Every $100 equals one episode. So the money doesn't even go to us. You're not supporting us through that, other than, you're making us watch that show to basically put your money where your mouth is. If it's a cinematic masterpiece like you think it is, there you go. So that's the Peacemaker challenge that we have going on right now.
So by the beard of Zeus says it's more like he walks out of the shadow, which happens to be a hallway or doorway,
yes,
with heavy footsteps. That made me laugh. Andrew said, I wish Pattinson had Bruce Wayne down too, because he nailed Batman. Interesting. So he did it.
Yeah, so I agree with that. So with our next thing, Corey, go ahead and pull up our next slide. So
one more second. There's a few more that I wanted to touch before we.
Oh, okay. By the way, by the beard of Zeus, it's always good to see you, man. It's always glad to have you here.
Batman said, so who was better, Bruce Wayne, in your opinion, Trey, Robert Pattinson, or Lane Glenn from Times? Or Ian?
Neither of them.
Interesting.
Neither of them, to be fully honest with you. But here's the thing. Here's what I'm going to give Robert Pattinson a bit of a pass. I don't want because then I'm going to spoil shit. No,
yep, don't
I'm not going to do it. So Batman, remember that for Sunday when you're on the show with us, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about his Bruce Wayne, and for me to describe his Bruce Wayne, I would be giving stuff away. Oh, says Corey, I love Batman more than my ex-wife. You can't wait to. You can.
He says you can wait till HBO MAX. I didn't think it's a masterpiece.
Affleck rules.
Interesting. I agree with that. I wish Pattinson had. Okay,
I'm not gonna. Yeah. One. So if anyone asks who my favorite Batman is, I'm not gonna answer that question yet. I think I'm gonna do another video.
Shut up.
The best Batman.
Hey, Trey.
What?
Tell me that Pattinson is the better Batman than Ben Affleck.
I'm not gonna answer that question.
You just lied.
Not gonna answer that question.
You're not gonna answer that question, but let me try this. Sparkle bats. Ben Affleck.
People need to drop the sparkle bats thing. Yeah, I mean he's a far better actor than the Twilight stuff. I have watched a few of his other things, and he is a good actor. Neil Evans, my man. It's always good to see you. Oh, that Joker picture is freaky. Batman says and I contribute $2. Alright contributes $5, so not even real Peacemaker fans. Exactly, yeah. By the beard of Zeus says Affleck is still the best. So Let's go to our next slide. Yeah. So general thoughts on the cast. I'm going to do my best not to spoil anything. I'm going to be
one that I will tell you right now, the most I'm excited about is Kravitz as a Catwoman.
She did a phenomenal job, I think. Sorry, go ahead.
And I would also tell you, and I'll let you go from left to right or whatever your thing is. And I'm also very curious about your take on Colin Farrell. But I will let you go for it, Trey.
Okay. So we'll go. I'm going to save Pattinson for last, but John Turturro, who played Carmine Falcone, he did a phenomenal job as Carmine Falcone. You know, I mean, he was a mafia mobster, you know, the Don. And I thought he did a wonderful job. They definitely pull elements of the comics of his story. And Zoe, I'm going left to right. Jeffrey Wright as James Gordon. There's not much to talk about.
Is that the top left guy? No, that's
he's the right.
Yeah, right. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. James Gordon, you said.
James Gordon.
Okay.
So Jeffrey Wright. When I first heard he was casted, I was a little not PO'd at first, but I was kind of like, oh, really? Like, why? Like, just thinking, like, I was thinking about Barbara Gordon, right? Like, well, Barbara Gordon's gonna have red hair, and like, how are they gonna explain that? You know, thinking if they would ever build into the Bat family. But let me just say, but after that, like after I kind of dropped that kind of nonsense of thinking, he actually was phenomenal as James Gordon. He was very much a Batman year one James Gordon, you know, just in a way, kind of a little more badass than Gary Oldman's James Gordon. Like Gary Oldman played, which is kind of funny, all things considering, with Batman Begins to Dark Knight Rises. He played very much the older type of James Gordon that we know in the comics, in the animated shows that we see, where he's just very wise and yes, he's in it, but he's not the hard cop, you know, he's not the hard blue collar cop kind of thing going on. But Jeffrey Wright, he's a cool James Gordon. I actually really dug his version. And it very much is James Gordon. There's not, I mean, like in terms of, if you're saying like, oh, it's like Gary Oldman, a very different Gordon. No, they play very much the same type of person.
Before you move on that, I'd like to ask a few questions myself on that.
On what?
On him as Gordon.
Jeffrey Wright?
Yep.
Okay.
Are you ready now? I just wanted to let you know before we moved on.
Sure, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So the thing that I was wondering about him as Gordon is when I first saw him in the trailer, I immediately thought, oh, yeah, he looks like a great Gordon, and I wasn't going to have any issues with him. The one thing I was wondering, though, is I know you're a big fan of the TV show Gotham, and with this being like a year one, year two style, Batman movie, it made me wonder if he's, a little bit on the older side. Do we, without spoiling it, do we see Gordon in any police style action type
He's
thing?
very much a partner of Batman.
Okay.
He's very much in it with him.
Okay.
I mean, like buddy cop, good cop, bad cop.
Because I was wondering, do you think they should have casted more of a
younger Gordon,
Gotham Gordon,
like Ben McKenzie kind of style?
Yes, I can't remember his name.
No, I don't think they needed to, because I think you kind of need someone who balances out how young Robert is. In this film, I think he's 30 years old, if I caught that correctly in the film. Yeah. I think they're suggesting like he started out as Batman 28 and Bruce is 30 in this film.
Now,
so he's very much young and early in the game, figuring things out.
Now, is Gary Oldman, obviously, we won't talk about who's your favorite person now, but previous to this movie, was Gary Oldman your favorite Gordon?
in for this film for like, oh, so you're saying like was Gary Oldman not including this film for all the other Gordons we have had in previous films or TV shows? Was Gary Oldman my favorite?
Yeah. Was Gary Oldman your favorite prior to
I would
this
say
movie?
yes, with the simple fact that I can't really judge J.K. Simmons Gordon because we didn't see enough of him
Okay.
for me to really judge him. I saw, I mean, he was in like 5 minutes of Zack Snyder's Justice League, so I can't judge it. When Gary Oldman had 3 films.
Okay.
But I thought Jeffrey Wright was a fantastic James Gordon. And yeah, he was just great. Very much Batman Year One style James Gordon in the action, and a hardened cop, because he did a great job of like, yeah, obviously he's really surrounded by corruption, and this is just a cop who's like he's been in the war, the war of crime, and just trying to do good, but he knows the odds are stacked against him,
All right.
He's just trying.
It said he's 35. So
or are you talking about Pattinson or in the film? Because I'm pretty sure they said he was 30 in the film.
All right. So let's move on to the next character.
Move on to the next one. Colin Farrell as Penguin.
Whoa. Have we talked about who's the guy on the top left? Is that
that was John Turturro, who played Carmen Falcone.
Okay, we talked about
like I said, he did a great job. I can't talk too much about his character without giving stuff away, because while he's not a major part of the movie, he does hold what he is. He is a major part, but he's not in it as much as like James Gordon and Batman. Some people have a little bit of a bigger role for him. He's just kind of, there's some answers about him that are going to affect the movie. But Colin Farrell as the Penguin.
I'm excited for this one. Yeah.
Okay. So originally when I heard they were doing a Penguin spin-off series from the Batman with Colin Farrell, I was kind of like, really? Do we really need to do that? I can't wait for that.
Really?
I can't wait for that. I think I might be way more excited for that than the GCPD show that's going to happen.
No way. They're doing so did you just...
Yeah, they're doing another GCPD series on HBO Max that is going to be taking place year 1 in the Batman. So I think it'll probably be based off year 1 Batman, where Batman's not really around. He's just kind of, people are starting to hear rumors of a giant bat, and Commissioner Gordon's like very much getting beat up by the corruption that's going on, and people trying to make him follow the corrupted rules, but he's kind of trying to get out of it, or at least stand against it. Like I said, it's kind of silly because we just got done with Gotham, which kind of showed that already with the development of Gordon, but at the same time,
interrupt you real quick.
Yeah.
Are these series officially greenlit yet?
I heard the GCPD one was. Matt Reeves keeps talking about it. The Penguin one is greenlit. Colin Farrell had talked about it just recently, that he said they're trying really hard to convince Warner Brothers, or I should say Warner Media, to make it rated R. Which that would be that's a smart move. That's a very smart move. Because the Batman, in terms of the tone, right, as we were talking about earlier, the tone is definitely pretty dark. In terms, it's very much as like in terms of dark and seriousness and kind of not really light moments as 7 was. So if you think of that tone where it's like, I don't know, was 7 was rated R, I think, because you see a lot of body parts. This film was pretty damn close. Like I almost wish it was rated R, because I think they could have there's some violence to this film, some real raw aggression that you can tell is kind of taken back, but in a way, because it was PG-13, they almost stylistically did things like Alfred Hitchcock, where you don't quite see it, but you hear it and you can tell what's going on, and it's almost scarier. So maybe that's the better thing to do. but I think also at some point rated R kind of allows a little bit more of that raw aggression without really showing anything. I think maybe it could have explained out that it wouldn't have been needed though. The PG-13 was fine. I think I just was kind of like, oh, it'd be cool to see like the gloves taken off, and really going after it, because it felt like it could have easily been a rated R film. And I think I just would have been curious to see what that would have been like.
I tell you,
Batman rated R.
So I was talking to my friend at work who's actually currently watching the Batman right now.
Oh, really?
And I said, he was like, you know who the Penguin is, right, Corey? And I was like, yeah, it's Colin Farrell. And he's like, yeah, man. I was like, well, have you seen Colin Farrell as the Penguin? He's like, no. I was like, all right, let me pull this up real quick so you see it. And his mouth just dropped. He was like, holy shit, dude, that looks nothing like Colin Farrell. Very, very intimidating looking Penguin, because really, for me, for example, the last time I saw Penguin was really Danny DeVito. And while he was scary and creepy, to me, I was very intrigued by Colin Farrell's take. He has a very good ability to portray those bad guy roles, and or the guy who's about to go off the edge, type roles. So he's probably like I said, I was super interested in Catwoman, and I was super interested in Penguin.
Here's one thing I will say about him is that when you see Penguin and the fact that it's Colin Farrell, you don't get that in his voice even, or because he plays a really good fat guy, but like
large American.
Sorry, obese. But no, Colin Farrell really at some points he kind of steals the show, but it's also like you don't ever get to see him like go off yet. So he was almost like it's so good, but he leaves you wanting more, which may be the smart thing, because if they are doing this series and if it's rated R, you might get that Penguin that is like a crazy Godfather mafia kind of thing going on, which could be really cool, especially using Gotham as its background. I think that could be something really exciting. He nailed it. And I know this is kind of silly. I don't know if anyone heard about this interview, but Colin Farrell talked about how he really wanted to be kind of classic with his Cobblepot, with having the long cigarette thing, or even a giant, cigar. And Warner Brothers was so against him using that. They're like, dude, kids are going to be watching this film. Like, we can't have you smoking. And I'm thinking, first off, that's so dumb for Warner Brothers to say that, because they think that the Penguin is going to inspire kids to smoke, when I think it's the villain. It's the bad guy. He's all scarred up, and it's like, you think kids are going to look at the bad guy and be like, oh, that's very cool that he's smoking.
Well, yeah, there are people like that, but I would say more specifically, why do you care about smoking that much when there's bodies lying around all over the place? Like,
and like I said, you don't really see. I mean, there are some bodies you see, but it's not as graphic as like the movie Seven was. But it's just done very creepy. And speaking of creepy, I'll leave that with Colin Farrell, because like I said, Colin Farrell like really intrigued me for the Penguin show. Like, whenever that freaking happens, I will watch it day one when it comes out, because he was so cool. Like, I hope they really expand on his character, and I think they are. I think they're where they're going in the direction. I think they're building up to him. Maybe not as the big bad, but he's certainly going to be a problem in the future. By the beard of Zeus, make Penguin vape. No, I actually joked about that. Like, are they going to try to modernize, Bruce Wayne, where he's like vaping, like, I'm cool, bro. But as you're talking about, speaking of creepy, Paul Dino as Riddler, he was unsettling.
That's the middle guy there.
Yep, the middle bottoms, the one who is wearing a mask and glasses. He's very unsettling. Like, and they totally pulled it from the David Fincher Zodiac, where he's just and it's almost
Not a Jim Carrey version.
no, it's very, like I said, very Zodiac, but I kind of got the feeling and the sense that it was kind of their interpretation of his Riddler using some influence from the comic Batman Hush in a way. And that's not giving anything away. I just think, how that Riddler in Batman Hush was a bit on the darker side, kind of did the thing that would take the Riddler to the next level. Well, this is Riddler starting at that next level of the comic where he's really psychotic, and every scene that he's in is just creepy, unsettling, and he just makes you tense. And Paul Dino nails that. He very much how do I explain this? He's when you see him and what he does with his eyes, like you hear Matt Reeves and Robert talk about how they really had to over exaggerate things because, partly why they cut, the cowl to be so far back on the cheek to kind of help with the emotions. And the eyes are kind of a little more open than typical Batman cowls, to where you can really see some of the eye emotion from Robert Pattinson. Paul had it even worse. He had more on his face. He had barely, everything was covering him, right? So literally all he had was his eyes. And Paul just does this thing where he just opens his eyes wide, or like where he'll stare at you, and he does just the slightest adjustment with his eyes that are just so intimidating and like threatening and like a predator just staring at you through the night, like waiting to attack you, and it is creepy. It is very creepy. Not your typical comic book Riddler. He is very intelligent in the film. There's an issue I have with his character in the third act, especially towards the end. That doesn't quite make sense to me, but all things considering, from the first and second act, he's like fantastic. It was just, I think, some directorial choices on the story and how they had him portray those certain parts that kind of took me out of the zone a little bit, out of the experience.
How long was this movie again?
Technically 2 hours and 47 minutes, not including credits. With credits, 2 hours and 55.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah. So it's a fairly long film. And the pacing definitely makes it I didn't feel like it was 3 hours. But I think that's because I was partly really invested, and like being how I am, I like puzzles. I like when I play the Batman games, I like trying to figure out the Riddler's, clues and trying to figure out the mystery, the murderer and stuff like that. So I was invested. I was like searching for Easter eggs, clues, and seeing if I could figure it out before the movie ended. And they did a good job of that for the most part. Catwoman. Before I get to Catwoman, we'll talk about Andy Serkis's Alfred.
Smeagol.
Got him.
I want you to do your entire general thoughts in the voice of Gollum.
I don't think I could do that. I'll do it out of King Kong or Caesar. Like, Andy Serkis was good. No, Andy Serkis did Andy Serkis did a pretty good job with Alfred. I'll just tell you right now, he's not really in the film terribly much, which caught me off guard a little bit, because I mean, usually, and that was kind of different, right? Because in most Batman films, Alfred is he's the man in the chair. And while Alfred, for the scenes you do see him, he's very good, right? Like he's very much Batman Earth 1 Alfred, where he's military, kind of hardened. But Andy Serkis brings a vulnerableness to his character that is very sweet at the same time.
That actually really surprised me, and it surprises me that he's not in it very much, because if we're talking about a year one, year two Batman, you would think that Alfred would have a lot more influence, a lot more, push at that age for a Bruce Wayne young Batman.
He does push, but in a different direction.
Kill them all.
That's all I'll say. But yeah, Andy Serkis, he's going to be a great character in the future for the films. He's very much. Sorry, I had a whole thing that I was going to say about his character. Oh, one thing that this film did that I really appreciated was it really focused on eyes. Like, there was a lot of scenes where it was close up and actors with the mask, without the mask, were really able to communicate what their feelings and thoughts were without saying a word through their eyes. And Andy Serkis had a moment where it kind of choked me up a bit. That I was like, wow, that was done very brilliantly. Andy Serkis is, it's kind of funny when you think about it, he's an actor that has done a lot of CGI characters, just wearing the little dots on him, and you never really see Andy Serkis. He's just a CGI dude. He's King Kong, he's Caesar, he's Gollum. He's actually a really good actor. He's very good.
That's an interesting take you had about the eyes, and I'm not too surprised hearing that, because obviously this is the first Batman movie that we've seen eyeliner on Bruce Wayne as he takes off the cowl. Now, so I'm not too surprised about the eyes. Out of curiosity, because one of the, I think, greatest superheroes actors to really feel their pain by looking at them through their eyes is Andrew's Spider-Man. Do you get that level of grief or feelings by looking at their eyes?
There's moments. Yeah, there's that. And that's why I think in some aspects where I say there's moments like where you really notice it, right? And then there's moments you expect to notice a similar thing and it doesn't happen. And that's where I say some of that threw me off a bit, because there was moments where it's like, you would expect a bit of a reaction or just a slight just communication through what that character is thinking. And sometimes you would just get blank. And maybe that was a choice too, to kind of show a certain side of that character. But all in all, like when you get like, okay, you kind of get this reaction to this similar situation, you would expect it again with that, with that kind of a similar thing happening. And sometimes that didn't happen. And I know like this is really nitpicking, right? Like you're thinking, Trey, why are you paying so much attention to the eyes of the characters when there's probably something else going on in the scene? Well, I've always been a person like interested in psychology, where like you eyes say 1,000 things, right? Like you just stare at someone's eyes while you're talking to them, like you really can tell if what they're saying is believable, or what's going through their mind. What are they trying to tell you that's not in their words or in their voice?
That's totally why I made you big screen and I say Batfleck. Robert Pattinson. Batfleck.
I'm blank.
Batfleck?
Blank.
Okay,
you're not going to get it, Corey.
You're
not going to get it, because at some point I'm going to do a video that's
look at me.
Top 10
I'm the
Batman.
captain now. Robert Pattinson is the best Batman ever. Ben Affleck is the best Batman ever. Yeah.
Anyways.
I know you.
Anyways. So so Andy Serkis is Alfred, very, very good, and looking forward to what else he can bring to the character. It was kind of unfortunate that he had such a a small part, but at the same time, I think maybe because they were so much into it with having Catwoman, uh, Riddler, Penguin, James Gordon, and Falcone, you have so many characters that you really have to kind of explore, that maybe just adding Alfred was too much in a way. But they do have a moment. There is a moment that's very sweet, but it makes you long for a little more of their relationship.
Necron asked, so there's no duality to Bruce Wayne.
No duality. How do you mean, El Necron?
I think some of the fans were chatting that Pattinson is Batman the entire time, even out of the costume. So he never really had a Bruce Wayne feel.
I'm trying to decide if that would be considered a spoiler if I told
We can move on till Sunday. We can table
we'll
that
save
Sunday.
that for Sunday. I don't want to. His story as Batman and Bruce Wayne very much tell what you think of them, or how the story goes, or really my thoughts towards how Robert Pattinson played that character, those characters, I should say.
Have we really got into Robert Pattinson's Batman yet? We haven't
Not
really
yet.
gotten-
I think
All right.
next is Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman. So Zoe Kravitz, very cool, very cool. I would agree with some of the things where she in some cases steals the show of the film.
Better than Michelle Pfeiffer?
Way better than Michelle Pfeiffer. Yeah, Michelle Pfeiffer, sorry to say it, she wasn't a great Selena Kyle or Cat. I mean, she kind of had the Catwoman thing down, but like and Selena Kyle now. Anne Hathaway.
Just remember, folks, real quick, don't pull a Preston. Don't pull a Preston.
I'm gonna shut up now before I slap. Yeah, don't do it by the beard of Zeus. I don't want anyone to mute you, bro. Always enjoy what you have to say, man. So yeah, another reminder, please do not spoil the Batman. I'm trying really hard myself. Literally, we just got out of the film a little over an hour ago.
You did.
Yeah, I did. Sorry. Corey, I'm trying to convince Corey right now if it's worth seeing the Batman or confirming his doubts. So Zoe Kravitz, she is awesome. She is awesome as Catwoman. Totally, they pull from two areas. Batman The Long Halloween and Batman Year One. There's if there is a scene where Matt Reeves kind of pulled a little bit of that comic book imaging, he did it definitely with Zoe Kravitz and her Catwoman. There's one scene where it almost looks like she's wearing almost the same outfit as Selena Kyle does in Batman Year One from the Frank Miller comics, and so that was like very cool. And she just, I mean, she plays what you would expect Catwoman to be. She's kind of disconnected but very much a powerful woman who's independent, very independent, right? There's a few moments where I thought they played it a little interesting with her, like where she kind of does something that's not quite Catwoman-y, maybe a little too trusting in areas, or quick to trust, which was kind of interesting, because normally I feel like Catwoman is very slow to trusting people or doing what they ask. She's very much like screw you kind of thing. But Zoe overall, I think, was a fantastic Catwoman, and I'm she did a great job, and it's very much in her early days. I don't think she even refers to her as she does say Bat and the Cat, but I don't think anyone calls her Catwoman. I think she's just called Cat, essentially. So, I mean, very much in the development of her whole story, and her relationship with Batman is very much typical of what you've seen from any Batman comic. It's just very. They didn't do really anything original with her in terms of like taking a chance. I mean, she's very much plucked out of a comic in terms of her background story and and where it leads her to. So yeah.
Now, let me ask you this, because I actually liked Michelle Pfeiffer. And I also big fan of Anne Hathaway. Probably because I just find Anne Hathaway absolutely gorgeous. So would you say she did a pretty good job there?
Oh yeah, no, she did great. She did give like 2 lines in the film that I felt like made no sense or like came out of nowhere. And then like she totally like what's the word I'm looking for? She totally became hypocritical of what she just made a statement of, and then she does something that's just like, well, what the hell was that? Like, why did you even say that first thing then? And we'll talk about that on Sunday. Like, clearly it was one scene that just like she says a quote and it was like, what? Like, okay, like I get what they're trying to do there, and then she does something that like completely goes against what she just said or what she was trying to convey in her emotions. And it was like, it was like, you hypocrite, like shut up. Like that makes no sense. But she was a great Catwoman. Her suit, year 1, right? Like she's not the like, I mean, Catwoman's never really high tech, you know. She kind of wears, I mean, the ski mask thing she kind of wears is kind of silly because when you think about it, it barely covers her face. You know, it really just like covers her nose and that's it. And for anyone who can't like tell, that's like Selena Kyle. You kind of just, I mean, it's like one of those things like, I mean, yeah, as you can see right there, barely covers her face. It's kind of hard not to go like, that's Selena Kyle.
You don't even need a mask at that point, you know?
Basically, yeah. I mean, she's showing like, wait, I mean, unless if they think she has like a up nose or something, you know, maybe it's not worth it. But yeah. Koopy Malik, my man, it's good to see you, bro. Glad you're here. So Trey, Corey. So Corey hasn't seen the Batman yet, Koopy. I did. I literally went to go see it at 5 o'clock, 3-hour movie. It was 8 o'clock. Got home around 8:45, set up my stuff, and then turned on the computer. So it was like we jumped right on. So I'm fresh from the movie theater and stuff like that. So yeah, Julie Newmar and Anne Hathaway were great. Yeah. Each cat, I don't think there's ever been really a horrible Catwoman. I mean, Michelle, like I said, Michelle Pfeiffer wasn't my favorite, but like she had solid moments, and Zoe Kravitz has very solid moments on both sides. Like if you want a more comic book accurate Catwoman, I think that's going to be Zoe Kravitz for you. So if you're into that, there you go. She's there. You know, you have a very comic book accurate Catwoman. Now Robert Pattinson's Batman and Bruce Wayne.
Wasn't Halle Berry Catwoman at one point?
She was, but we don't talk about that.
Why not?
Because Corey, I think she even won a Raspberry Award for that. Now, granted, I don't listen to the Raspberries.
The raspberries taste like raspberries. The raspberries taste.
But I mean, yeah, we don't talk about that film.
I'm just saying,
other than Halle Berry looked great in that outfit.
I'm just saying. Okay, so that's
one
why
good thing that came from that film.
So that's why there's no horrible Catwoman, because she looked great in it.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, I guess I did. See, I don't even consider that movie like a Catwoman film.
That's why I brought it up.
So bad.
That's what
okay,
I'm here for.
You got me, bro. Like she is not the greatest Catwoman, but I
don't
know if I can blame her for that.
I'm going to say it's official. Trey loves Halle Berry as Catwoman. Probably the best.
I love the
Catwoman.
outfit. That's for sure.
Probably the best Catwoman ever. So move over. You know, it's a Halle Berry world.
Corey.
It means I'll go fuck yourself.
But yeah, Zoe did a pretty good job with that. Now with Robert Pattinson's Batman and Bruce Wayne, I'm gonna try not to give too many details on this one because I feel like it'll give away some of the story. But he does a good job. Like, yeah, he's definitely not bat nipples or twinkle bats, you know. for people praising the Batman voice of his, I don't think it deserves praise because it was.
You
What's
know,
that,
Trey,
Corey?
you're very good with doing like mimicking and a voice um, acting. So swear to me, do we got something like that, or we have?
I mean, he very much. It's very much like Christian Bale's. Maybe not as obnoxious as Christian Bale's.
So like, hello there, Governor. Where are the other drugs
No,
going?
not quite that, but it's very like, I'm Batman. I whisper, or like where it's
That
just
kind of sounded more like Darkseid trying to be Batman there, though.
that was not even close to being Darkseid.
Well, okay.
No. It was yeah, for people praising that, like, oh my god, Pattinson's Batman voice is phenomenal. Like there was nothing in his voice that made me go like, oh my god, that's how Batman's supposed to sound. It wasn't like Kevin Conroy, right? Like I almost like wished Kevin Conroy was speaking for him, because and that was kind of an interesting thing too. Like he doesn't really, like, he kind of changes his voice as Batman from Bruce Wayne, but when he talks as Bruce Wayne, you can clearly hear it. Like, he doesn't differentiate the voice sound enough for someone to not be like, oh, well, that's clearly not Bruce Wayne. you know so yeah, I don't know why people, at least from some reviews I was hearing, saying like his voice is perfect. Like, in my opinion, the Batman's still perfect voice is probably Kevin Conroy, followed behind. I think it was very smart to have, Ben Affleck's voice modulated, because at that point, Ben Affleck doesn't have to worry about, sounding different from Batman, because no one's going to be able to really tell, who, just simple things like that. What else can I say about Pattinson without giving stuff away? Yeah, I mean, he's very much that you kind of get Rorschach vibes from him, from Watchmen, kind of in the sense of how Zack Snyder did it, where the the detective noir, him narrating through things, which was cool. Like I said, I really loved that aspect of it. I think, did they nail the detective side of Batman? They definitely showed a little better side of it, but I think it was more of how they told that story, like how they did that detective, like how they said he was being a detective, in terms of, was he doing exactly like what Batman does in detective stories, where he's like doing like chemical like testing, trying to figure out what chemicals are, and like he's kind of like a scientist at the same time. No, I didn't get, you didn't get that. I mean, was there a ton that you saw differently about his detective Batman that you haven't seen already from like Christian Bale or Ben Affleck's Batman, where they're just doing really good investigative work? Not a ton. I mean, he's definitely investigating and going hardcore about it. As I mean, he was almost like a private investigator, like a really damn good private investigator, where he just hangs out at his car watching you, kind of, and that's what makes him a good detective.
Let me ask you this, Trey, because you always like to say, I'm the greatest detective in the world.
I am the world's greatest detective.
Okay. So let me ask you this. When you're watching the movie,
a sparrow with a machine gun, I already knew it.
Yeah. When you were watching the movie,
yeah,
were you ever like, oh, come on, Pattinson, you got to know this, you got to, did you solve the riddle, the mystery before he did? And don't get me wrong, I won't take it too hard on him, because obviously you got to develop a story, but what, did they drag out the noir side of things too much?
Did they drag out the detective side too much? I would tell you no, they didn't. If anything, they needed to go harder in some areas. Like some areas they didn't go as like heavy into the detective when it needed to be, and show his brilliance, because he is brilliant in this film, but he yes, I see what you're saying, Coopy Matt. Yeah, technically Keaton did, but like Keaton, well, Keaton was able to figure out the chemicals and Axe chemicals, from all the stuff that that Joker was doing. They didn't really show that at all. They just kind of said, "Hey, this is what I found," rather than him like actually in a lab coat and stuff, over like kind of like what you would see in like the golden age detective comics, with Batman like really showing his scientific side of being a detective and being able to figure things out that way. This was very much, he's just very good investigator and seeing small details, and without saying anything about it. And I think that was kind of that I'm gonna have to say for this.
I'm sorry, you said he was good at seeing the small details.
Yeah, he was good at seeing small details. But they kind of did it in a way where some of it was like happened very quick, like where you can see, and this is where I say they did a good job on the cinematography on his eyes, where he's just kind of looking at the scene, and you can kind of tell that he's reading stuff, with his, just thinking like, okay, I'm seeing this, I'm seeing this, I'm seeing this, but there wasn't really any extra details into that. It was just kind of like, I'm noticing all these things. These are going to go in my notes, and they kind of did. I was kind of worried about the realism of the film and kind of with his gadgets and stuff like that. It's kind of weird. This is where I say in some areas they did a really good job. In some areas they kind of went too realistic. Some of his gadgets, you're like, holy hell, that's high tech and that's really awesome. Like that's a cool new tech gadget that Batman has. And then when he does something that, you would expect a very Batman-esque theme, you don't really get it. It's like they decided to go so real on that it kind of took away from kind of what we want to see as Batman, but it was just kind of like one of those things where like, yeah, I guess that makes sense. I guess that's what would be a realistic Batman if he was in our world, rather than, seeing something like The Dark Knight where he's gliding with bat wings, from the cape, or kind of like slowing himself down when he's about to hit the ground with his bat cape, doing that classic Batman quickly like parachutes his cape and then jumps down. They go a very realistic approach with it.
So as QP Malik said, like in the Arkham game series, not quite. And as my Deadpool would say, he is certainly no Dick Tracy, which, man, that was a great movie. Warren Beatty.
Yeah, I mean, he has moments. I mean, that's where I say there was moments where like his detective skills are really awesome, and you're getting that side of Batman. It's kind of like they spent a longer time showing the quick little, like in the Nolan trilogy, in the Zack Snyder stuff or BVS, and even Zack Snyder's Justice League. It's like, rather than and even the Keaton stuff, rather than showing snippets of what Batman's doing detective style wise, like kind of in that scene with The Dark Knight where Batman's like taking out the bullet of the brick and shooting, testing to see which one will look more so he can put it into his computer and recreate the scenario so he can get the thumbprint on the bullet. Rather than quick little snippets like that, just draw it out a little bit more.
Did you even get the feeling that Robert Pattinson's Batman could even, do that, type of CSI work, or did he seem like a young boy? Like, what the hell is ballistics?
Oh, no. He seemed like it seems like he knows his detective stuff. If anything, they just didn't quite explain how he's so good at being a detective. Like, where did he get this knowledge? Like in the comics, you kind of know where Batman got his detective skills. He read a lot of books and did schooling, stuff like that, and even was taught by like someone he looked up to as a great detective. That I think they explained that right before the Joker War in the recent Rebirth comics. I'm totally spacing the character's name of a detective that Bruce really looked up to, that he spoke with to learn about his detective skills. In this, it's kind of just like he's already a great detective, but you don't know how he has that knowledge. It's just kind of he's there with it. He obviously has the resources to have the analyzation tools and computers that can process a lot of that information for him, to where he can relook at his notes and really break down what he's seen. But in terms of, really, I mean, it's definitely not like Adam West series where like a riddle happens and all of a sudden he pulls out of a answer out of his ass, where it's like a sparrow with a machine gun. Like, oh yes, that's it. Like, there's nothing like that. Like, very much the answers pretty much make sense. There's a few riddles that the Riddler has that the answers are like kind of stupid obvious, like but it's like one of those, like, you're kind of tricked by it because you're like, well, it can't be that obvious. But it's like, at the same time, it's like, it's almost like a trick question in there where he's like, he just wants to like torture you in a way because the answer and maybe you don't want to say it. But yeah.
Did he look scared at all throughout the movie to you as Batman? Because like I think of the trailer where he's like slowly walking to James Gordon. He kind of looked like, oh shit, kind of face. Like, yeah, I don't know. It might just be Robert Pattinson's stupid face to me. No offense, Robert Pattinson, but
how can he not take offense to that? Like, your stupid face, but no offense.
I'm sorry. I still think that, like, I know you. Again, I've never seen any of the other movies that Pattinson's done. The only thing I think of him is Cedric Diggory and the Twilight Band.
Don't do that. I don't want to think about Voldemort's face, feet on Bruce Wayne's face. Oh, such a sweet boy. So you're asking, did Robert Pattinson ever have a moment where he had a scared look on his face?
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, to me, it looked like he was fearful. Like he by the beard of Zeus, actually said, Batman brings the fear. He's not scared. So I'm saying, did he give off that vibe, or did it look like he was kind of in the trailer? To me, he seemed a little timid. Maybe that's a better word.
I mean, no, but there is a moment. I mean, it's the Riddler, right? Like, the Riddler is one of the smartest people around. I mean, obviously, Batman's able to outsmart him, obviously, in the comics, but part of that is because the Riddler's ego is he wants to be caught, right? Like, he leaves the hints of like, hey, it's me, I'm doing this. Can you figure it out? And it's always kind of the funny thing in the comics that when Batman figures out and Riddler gets angry, it's kind of like, well, you kind of led him to it, like you left a good breadcrumb to say, hey, it's me, or like, hey, this is my master plan. Like, you left too many hints. So, I mean,
okay, but like, by the beard of Zeus followed up and he said he's quiet. Like, to me, in some ways, is he quiet in the way that he doesn't, show off confidence, or is he quiet as in, like Dad had always said, if you're in a bar and there's a fight going on and there's a quiet one, you don't mess with the quiet one because he's going to freaking kill you. Like, is it that kind of quiet, or is it, a more of a timid quiet, not showing much confidence quiet, basically, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, how much do you want me to get into Bruce Wayne?
Well, again, as a reminder, this is the Batman no spoiler review and reaction. So I will let you determine that.
Okay.
And remember, you're trying to sell me on whether or not I need to see this film.
Okay. I'll put it through this way so I don't give away too much. for you. He is very much not the Bruce Wayne that you know. He's very much his own take of Bruce Wayne. And I think if anything, his Bruce Wayne is going to be polarizing for some people. Like some people are going to be like, well, that's not my Bruce Wayne. And some people are going to say, well, it's character development. It's building to that Bruce Wayne that we know. Hopefully, I guess, maybe you'll find out. I don't know. But he's definitely, so here's the best thing I can say without giving too much away about Pattinson's Bruce Wayne. When Matt Reeves said that his inspiration for how he wanted Pattinson to play Bruce Wayne was Kurt Cobain. You know who Kurt Cobain is, Corey?
Absolutely.
From the
Nirvana.
Yeah. Nailed it. That's exactly who Bruce Wayne is. Kurt Cobain.
But that's my thing. When I think of Batman, I don't necessarily think of Kurt Cobain.
And that's fair. And I think that's why you're going to have a bit of a polarizing view on Pattinson. And it's, to me, I'm going to give it away if I say more about it. He's Kurt Cobain. He's Kurt Cobain, okay. Bruce Wayne. You have to decide, if you see the movie, if it was worth the story for you of why he's that way, or if it works for you. I'll tell you in our spoiler review on Sunday if it worked for me or not.
Okay.
Or if it was justified for the setup for the sequel. So Kurt Cobain, like, Matt Reeves did not hide anything on that. Like, it was almost like he was trying to prepare people, saying, my Batman is Kurt Cobain. Like, Bruce Wayne is Kurt Cobain. Like, just get ready for that now. Like, he is Kurt Cobain. Like, there is no better way to describe even how they make Bruce Wayne look with his hair, how he is persona wise as Bruce Wayne. Kurt Cobain is Bruce Wayne, so take that for what it is. But overall, I think, was Robert Pattinson the worst Batman and Bruce Wayne I've ever seen? No.
And this is Neo7 says, I'm a huge fan of Nirvana and Kurt ain't no Batman.
And like I said, that's something you got to decide for yourself.
It may be another thing that he grows out of the franchise.
Exactly. And that's kind of where you're going to have to, it's going to be one of those things where, will that give away too much about how I feel about this film? Yes, I think it will. It will give away too much.
Yeah, we can wait. We can hold on.
Yeah.
I'm just like, are we like, smells like Teen Spirit?
No,
Kurt Cobain, hello.
Well, actually, the now that you bring that up, Corey, let's go to our next slide, and I believe this is one of our last slides for the night.
Before we do that today,
okay.
Andrew Caselli, I promised him I would come back to this question. He said, again, since we're kind of moving away from the cast, that's why I thought now is a good time to bring it up. And Andrew said, at the Bat Channel, if the Joker is in the universe, how would you think Matt Reeves would handle him?
If Matt Reeves ever brought the Joker into his universe, how would he handle him? Honestly, there's so many versions of the Joker, right? Like, you got the Michael Keaton's, with Jack Nicholson being the mobster, in a way, and kind of a little bit of the jokester, right? And then you have the psychoticness, chaos of Heath Ledger, and then you have kind of a mixture of the two with the mobster, the gangster, and psychotic Jared Leto, and then you had Joaquin Phoenix's, which personally I'm not a huge fan. Like, I think the Joker film is a masterpiece of a film in terms of a character that is suffering from mental illness. if you take out the Joker part, I think it's a great film. When you add the Joker part in it, at least for me, I don't think he was a good Joker. Just because he wasn't. I always felt like the Joker is funny in a way because his comedy is like usually not wrong, but it's messed up, and it's like you can kind of see the irony and the joke in it. And in Joaquin Phoenix's film, while there is that, it was just like so messed up that like you can't even like see the irony in it, where it's like, yeah, that's just not funny. Like I can't kind of chuckle on that. And I feel like with the Joker, you in the comics at least, you can kind of chuckle at his play on words, or some of the crazy stuff he does. And I didn't get that feeling from Joaquin. So I wasn't a huge fan of Joaquin's Joker. To me, with Joaquin's Joker, it was kind of like, yes, I know the whole movie was about how he becomes a Joker. I would love to see if they ever do the sequel. I know they're working on it, or at least trying to develop a good idea for it. I would love to see a film where he is fully embraced as the Joker. Like he is the Joker, rather than seeing how he becomes a Joker, or what, or at least the fake or confusing narrative that he's trying to say, this is what turned me. You know, I would just like to see the Joker, you know. So that's kind of my theme with Joaquin Phoenix.
Hey Trey, and just because I saw kind of the number spiked a little bit and some new people joining us, I just want to remind everybody this is the official Bat Channel, the Batman no spoiler review and reaction tonight. So no worries about spoilers tonight.
Yes, yeah, please, yeah, no spoilers, and please feel free to give us a like, a share, get your friends involved into the chat, because the more people, the merrier. And I'm seeing, yeah, we have a lot more people now in the chat, which is awesome. I appreciate all the support, guys, and we do have super chat. If you feel like supporting us, that does mean a lot, especially if you have a question that you want us to answer, as long as it doesn't force us to spoil it. But to finish, who asked the Joker question? Was it?
I'm sorry, I was muted. It was Andrew, and he specifically said, if the Joker is in the universe, how would you think Matt Reeves would handle him?
Yeah. Personally, I would love to see them do kind of a new 52 Joker at some point. Like they kind of did it in the series Gotham, and I loved how they handled it with like the face pulled, you know, over, and he like staples his face back together, and it causes his face to be that creepy smile. I would love to see a cinematic version of that kind of crazy level of a Joker, and just very, I mean, especially with this dark grunginess that they're doing with the Batman film with Matt Reeves, I think his Joker fits very well into that world. So I would love to see them handle it like that. But I'm willing to see whatever Matt Reeves' take on the Joker would be. I mean, Joker is a fun character to write, I'm sure.
I did see that though quite a bit with just the initial reviews that the Batman could connect to Joaquin's Joker world.
Yeah, it could very well connect. Simply because, I mean, I don't think it, like, if anyone's wondering like, oh, will Joaquin's Joker come up in this film or in a future film? I don't think so, simply because Alfred is different, and Thomas Wayne is obviously a different actor in the Batman film. So clearly, and how that whole situation goes, of, you know, how Thomas Wayne dies is slightly different from the Batman film versus the Joker. So they're clearly not in the same world. So if anyone's expecting Joaquin to show up at some point, it's not going to happen.
One thing that I would tell you, Trey, is so far, according to Dadpool, he said, I think I'll just spend my 3 hours this weekend watching Adam West's Batman movie. How dare you speak bad about Adam West?
Jesus, Dad. Yeah, Dad, this is for you.
Disappointed!
I'm all about that shark repellent, bro.
Chubby Teddy Monsters, dude, what's up? It's been a while. Yo, dog, you get that Effects Dark Knight Rises Armored Batman yet? For what? That Mafex Armored Batman yet? Oh wait, Dark Knight Returns Armored Batman yet? Is Mafex like a statue company? They make like busts or something like that?
Yeah, it looks like I think he's
I see
referring
DKR. When I
to.
see DKR now, because I see so many people refer that to as Dark Knight Rises, that tells you how much that movie has
I'm
messed me up
gonna send it to you
rather
real
than
quick,
Dark Knight
Trey.
Returns. You're sending me a picture of it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. See, I'm pulling it up right now, seeing what that's about. Let's see. I'll check it out for you guys right here. Oh, that is pretty dope.
Let me see if I can get it for the chat as well.
For $115? Ouch. Killing me, Smalls. Killing me. Damn. Hey man, there's so many statues I would love to have for the Batman. I would love to review some. Like a lot of the ones from the Weta Workshop look awesome for Zack Snyder's Justice League. And hell, I would even love the armored Batman one that they had in BVS. Because I love Dark Knight Returns. That's literally still to this day one of my favorite comics of all time. Joaquin's Joker, yeah, and Joaquin's Joker would be like freaking 80. So I've seen some people on YouTube try to say, "Oh, Joaquin's Phoenix, can't Easter egg in the Batman." And it's like, no, they can't be. There's no possible way unless if somehow the Flash universe destroying multiverse thing somehow incorporates that, but they're not going to do that. Matt Reeves has said multiple times, "This is my universe," so it's not happening.
Well,
see Joaquin.
Dadpool says ditto on the shark repellent to be used on the new Bat movie.
But the Beard of Zeus says it's a great rookie detective take on the character. A lot of comic book threads from Scott Snyder and Capullo. Yes, Scott Snyder and Capullo were definitely influences for those comics, and definitely from Long Halloween Year One. You guys, well, we'll save that for the spoiler, but I didn't see much of anything from Batman Ego. I think Batman Ego was probably one of the most misleading inspirations that Matt Reeves said, other than maybe he was talking about the psychosis of Bruce Wayne in a way. But like I said, I read that comic, the Batman Ego one, because I was expecting to see or things be referenced in a way that would be, related to Batman Ego. And I didn't see it. And I was kind of disappointed by that, because with Matt Reeves constantly saying like, "Oh yeah, Darn Cook was one of my favorite books," and that we took a lot from Batman Ego. And I didn't see it. I didn't see where they pulled from that. Other than maybe it was because he kind of has a detective. It's not even detective noir. It's just him narrating his thoughts like every other comic does in Batman Ego. So I don't take that as the connection.
So Trey, I guess as we're kind of wrapping up the cast side of things, I'm curious on overall, how would you judge the without spoiling, of course, the just overall cast that they put together for this movie?
Overall cast was phenomenal. Overall cast, like a lot of people, like, without giving it away, I don't want to give it away too much. A lot of the other characters besides Batman had a lot of great moments that make them very interesting. The three that really pop out to me at the moment is Colin Farrell, Zoe Kravitz, and probably a tie between Jeffrey Wright and Paul Dino. Like I said, there's a thing that happens in the third act with Paul Dino's Riddler that kind of made me lose my investedness in his character, or kind of the suspension from disbelief, kind of happened. But I mean, Jeffrey Wright was a fantastic James Gordon, so I have to give him some credit too. And Andy Serkis just wasn't in the film long enough for me to really be invested in him. And Carmine Falcone was he was a cool character. The actor Turturro. I'm starting to getting tired now. You can tell John Turturro. Thank you. He was great as Carmine Falcone. He just, there was other characters that also shined very through this film. By the Beard of Zeus says, "I want that Year 2 McFarlane figure with the huge cape wrapping around Batman at the cemetery." Oh, I haven't seen that. I bet it's great. But yeah, overall, I agree. Integrity. overall, the cast was very, very solid, very well cast. I didn't feel like anyone was out of place in terms of casting. I'll put it that way. No one in that cast was kind of like, that didn't work. Like someone else could have played that role much better, you know?
So Trey, I'm actually extremely excited as I kind of preview this next slide to hear your take on this, because as we both know, this is incredibly important to a movie. So let's bring up your thoughts on the film score.
Thoughts on the film score. Whew, man. Michael Giacchino outdid himself on this one. It was one of the highlights of this film. So this is something you guys might think I'm kind of silly for this, but because this is the job I want to do with film composing, this is something I pay attention to. This can make or break a film for me. There's some films. One of my biggest issue with a lot of Marvel films is that they don't have great themes in them or rememberable ones. Like I can't remember Captain Marvel's theme. I can't remember. I don't think Iron Man had a theme. He had like 3 different themes, you know. So, but you know, the Avengers theme, solid. But in some films, they rarely used it effectively. So the music to me is important. I mean, could you imagine if Jaws didn't have the bum 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 bum, or you replaced it with like some happy, like, you know, mariachi sound or something like that, you know, when the shark's about to attack, it wouldn't make sense. So that's why music is super important. And Michael Giacchino nailed the music, absolutely nailed it in terms of the sinisterness of the Riddler, the Catwoman theme, you know, really matched her character. You know, he has the Batman theme. Whew. Is it my favorite Batman theme of all time? I don't think so, but here's why I say it's really good. He used it so effectively to where every single time the Batman shows up, he plays a arrangement or a different stylistic version of the Batman theme. You know, the bum 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 bum. He'll twist it in a little bit of different way where maybe it's a little more legato, but it's always hidden in the background with either the chord structures, the main melody, or just a quick little cameo of the theme in someone else's theme when Batman shows up, so that every time you see Batman or hear Batman, he's almost like the shark. He's almost like Jaws, right? Like anytime the shark was coming around, bum, 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 bum. Anytime Batman was nearby, boom, 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 boom. And it was so brilliantly used that, like, fantastic. Like, seriously, could not have like a better score for this. And I really applaud Michael Giacchino for this. I mean, the Batman theme is not that complex. It's not that complicated, right? Just minor thirds and a simple rhythm, but it gives you that detective noir thing, and it just sounds dark, but it can have a heroic moment, especially how he builds on it. El Jefe McCarran, you tools are probably vaxxed and wear face diapers?
I got this, Trey.
Connor, take a look around you. You got a lot of champions, a lot of grizzled vets. Who do you think would give you the hardest fight out of anybody on stage?
Right here. Right here, the hardest hitting 145 pound, the real hardest hitting 145er right here. This guy TKOs people. When I knock people out, they don't fucking move. Who the fuck is that guy? Who the fuck is that? You know damn well who I am. Who the fuck is that? Oh my God. I don't know, when I take that guy's belt, Leprechaun. Oh, good one. When I take that guy's belt, I'm looking around, I don't know what anyone else has for me around here. I might have to jump up and fucking drag Floyd Mayweather out bed and see what the fuck he's at again.
Fucking clown right there.
Who the fuck is that guy? Watch out, he's going to call you a snowflake next. Probably, dude.
So hurtful. Fucking clown. Anyways, like, where did even the fucking comment come up from?
You did have a spicy show with Sil. I actually went back and watched it. So
the one with Sil. Oh, did I hurt someone's feelings?
You may have. Oh man, look at this. This is hilarious, dude. I have top
calling. Okay, Corey, take that off. I can't have that stuff on the fucking show.
That's hilarious. Who is that guy,
Mods, man? Where is that even coming from, Corey? I haven't seen that.
Yeah, that's wild, dude.
Mods, do your job. You know what to do. Because
they probably took care of it already.
Okay. Yeah, we ain't having that shit. Get out of here, you fucking clown. All right. Anyways, here's what I think of that shit right there. You wanna know how I feel about that shit?
Is this true? Yes, it's true. This man has no dick.
Interesting. Yeah, it says it's not in the chat, but yeah, it's popping up. That's super interesting, dude.
Jesus.
I love that shit. I love it.
So
I'm sorry, Trey, I had to.
Good. Anyways, okay. So the score. Phenomenal score. Like, seriously, Michael Giacchino just fucking nailed it. Like, totally just it was a beautifully well done score, and he nailed the tone, the mood, and if anything, effectively just used the themes to the best opportunity that he could. So I applaud him for that. There was no weird like songs added, like in Aquaman where the Pitbull song comes out of nowhere, when they're coming out of the water, kind of, just kind of stupid stuff like that. So, it was just a very well done score, kind of used some classical styling of that, some of the Riddler themes, because I've always kind of thought that Riddler would be that type of person, because like intelligence, is usually associated to listening to classical music, and they kind of used that with Riddler in a way in terms of the styling of his theme, and it was done very well. And then obviously, because of the whole Kurt Cobain theme, the Batman theme is very based on the Something in the Way Nirvana song. And they do use that song, the actual Nirvana recording, which is cool because often, Corey, like how you hear a song in the trailer and it's really, really cool, but you don't hear it in the film. This film, they use it, they use that song that you're like, yes. And they use it in a way kind of similar to the trailer, in a similar scene. And it just kind of hits those moments for you. So the score by Michael Giacchino gets an A for me. That was phenomenal. I honestly bought it on iTunes, kind of addicted to it, and I'll probably buy it in CD form because I like it that much. I think it's a great score.
I like what Integrity said. He says, I agree the score was a highlight. I still think B89 has the best theme, but the Batman accomplished what it needed to.
Exactly. Yeah, I think
the Batman in 1989 is literally, how do you beat that?
Oh, I mean, to me, it's all preference. Like the hard thing is like, it's almost like, I don't know if you can pick like who has the best Batman theme, because the theme matches the person playing Batman, right? Like the Michael Caine theme, especially with what Tim Burton was going on with Danny, and how Danny Elfman composed that. Brilliant, for the 1989 Batman. And then you had, I'm spacing the composer who did Joe Schumacher's films. Was it Jerry Goldsmith? It might have been. Let me check real quick. Batman composer. Elliot Goldenthal. He had a great composition for what matched Val Kilmer and George Clooney's Batman. The bum 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 kind of stayed in the same kind of over exaggerant realm that Keaton's Batman came from. But then you have, the great score from Hans Zimmer with the Dark Knight trilogy, which was very heroic and sound like Batman Rising, right? Like, so very, very cool. And then you had Hans Zimmer and Tom Holkenborg doing BVS and then Zack Snyder's Justice League, which I love Beautiful Lie. I love that composition, and Men Are Still Good from Tom Hokenborg. Like, that is a really good Batman theme that matches Ben Affleck's character, the violence of him, and the very dark torturedness of Batman in that film. And then you get Zack Snyder's Justice League's theme with Tom Hokenborg, where it's it is dark, but it has a bit of a hopefulness to it. So it's a bit of a different Batman, but it's still very much in the realm of how Ben Affleck's Batman tone is. And then with Michael Giacchino doing this Batman theme, it's very much tonally what you get from Pattinson. So every composer has brought an element to the Batman theme that I think matches what they're going for. So bravo to Michael Giacchino, adding just another great score collection to the Batman legacy. So seriously, brilliant. I definitely recommend buying that score. It was phenomenal. And then Corey, for our final.
So before we get there, I'm curious because I'm not too familiar with Michael Giacchino. Obviously you follow the composers a lot closer than I do, unless your name is John Williams, Tom Hokenborg, or I just spaced his name. Oh man, what's your boy? Who am I thinking of?
Hans Zimmer?
Hans Zimmer, yes.
Okay, yeah.
Unless it's those three, I really don't know who you are, probably. Is Michael Giacchino in any, compose any films that I would be familiar with?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Tons. He did Jurassic World, Jurassic
really?
World Fallen Kingdom. He did the newer Star Trek films. Like, so he's... he's a big composer, bro. Like...
Okay.
Michael Giacchino is kind of the I would honestly say Michael Giacchino is probably going to be the next, or is the next big composer compared to like the level of Hans Zimmer, in a way. He's just super talented and has wrote great themes all around. Neo Sevens, dude, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. You say, I appreciate your even keeled take on the Batman. Like I said, I appreciate that. Like I'm a huge Ben Affleck Batman fan. Like, I realized that this was supposed to be his film. And that does bug me. That is a reservation I had about the film and why I felt even somewhat a little bit guilty about supporting this film. But when I think about it, it wasn't, Matt Reeves' fault of what happened with Ben Affleck. It was the studio, and, just to kind of go off that side of things. But like, I'm a Batman fan first. I support the hashtag make the Batfleck movie when Ben Affleck wants to come back, when Zack Snyder is doing stuff again, when David Zaslav gets into Discovery. I'll always back that up. But as my wife said to me, like kind of, this morning when I was like kind of thinking about the Batman film and hoping that I would like it, she kind of just said, hey, like, you are a Snyderverse supporter, but like, you're also a Batman fan. Just go in as a Batman fan and enjoy it. And that kind of was like, yeah, I am a Batman fan. I do just want a good Batman film. And it was a very good Batman film. So doing that, I appreciate my wife doing that for me, because it allowed me to go in and sit down and be like, oh yeah, let's take this in full experience of the Batman film. So thank you, Neo 7. Corey, let's go ahead and give this man his super chat clip.
It is not a question of money.
You see, I'm buying this hotel and setting some new rules about the pool area.
I love that one. That's so good. So yeah, Michael Giacchino's theme.
But yeah, they a lot of great comments from people. They're saying more upbeat. Lucas Ironside, have a great night. Good night, guys. I have to wake up early to see the theater. Go to the theaters in the morning.
Go see the Batman film. So we'll do our spoiler review on Sunday. Lucas Ironside, I hope to see you there, bud. Love to hear your thoughts on it as well. Get some good caffeine. Oh yeah, night, Lucas. Baby girl, it's always good to see you. Super Bat Mom, and I love your program composition. Oh my god. Parents See that's all Riddler and Bruce Wayne need is just parents to support them.
Oh, he did Rogue One as well. Oh
yeah, that's right. He did do Rogue One. I did and Spider-Man. Yeah, he has done the Spider-Man films.
The Incredibles, the Apes movies, the Jurassic World.
He's very much Matt Reeves. He's his guy, as Steven Spielberg's guy is John Williams, and Zack Snyder likes to use Tom or Hans, or Christopher Nolan likes to use Hans. Matt Reeves likes to use Michael Giacchino for a lot of his stuff, and rightfully so. They're a good team together, I think. But Corey, for our next slide, just to save people, because I saw another YouTube channel trying to spin.
So finally, overall, I think you can easily rate the actual film. As far as the 10-point scale, what are we rating this score?
We'll save that in just a moment, because I have a slide that we'll do that with.
Okay.
So is there a post-credit scene? Because I saw someone said post-credit review of the Batman. Don't let them fool you. There is no post-credit scene. Now, me, just because I like to listen to music, this is where the composer gets his time to shine. I like to sit through the credits. Is there a quick little thing at the very, very end? There is, but is it? It's not a post-credit thing. It's literally kind of like a little joke thing that it doesn't really hint at anything. It's just kind of like the Matrix, like typing in stuff at the very end, and it's the Riddler doing something similar to that, but like it's not like a big reveal.
I have to say, Trey, I appreciate you saying that, because as pretty much everybody in this channel knows, to me, Peacemaker is still dead. So it's always good to know when there's
because you did stay for the post credit.
I did, yeah. The second that movie was over, I shut it off and then left. So.
That's so funny. I know. Yeah, Corey's like, I didn't even know Peacemaker was around. So yeah, there is no post credit. Like you said, the thing at it's literally at the very, very end of the movie. It's just a thing that the Riddler kind of already showed in a scene in the middle of the film that they kind of just did as like it has no meaning. At least I didn't think it did. And I was kind of like, I try to pay attention to it. I'm sure maybe if you stopped it at milliseconds, maybe you'll see an image in there, but like you can't do that in the theater, so it's so quick that I think truly it was not a post-credit thing. It's like a millisecond of the scene. It's not even a scene. It's just typing. Like I said, from like almost like Matrix looking kind of stuff. Dadpool says that my butt son sit through the credits is good for the music and the film crew. Absolutely. Yeah. I'd like to show my support, all those people in the names going up, they all work super hard on that film. And like I said, it's the time for the composer to shine. So I like to listen through it. But Corey, so go to our next slide. This is our final slide, really. So no post-credit scene. But is it worth seeing in theaters, or should I wait for HBO Max? Now I'm trying.
I want to know, Trey. I want to know.
You gotta know. You gotta know. First off, let me look up real quick the specific.
Or do I
date.
not see it at all? I think somebody put in the chat. They said 45 days. I thought I saw.
Yeah, I think it is 45 days. I'm just trying to see what day in April is it officially.
So while Trey's looking for it, I want to see everybody in the chat right now put in theaters, HBO Max, or you don't really need to see it, Corey. No, don't waste your time. Don't waste your money.
Yeah. So while they're doing that, it looks like the Batman will be on HBO Max April 19th. That's not a confirmed date yet. This is from Collider. That was posted just the other day. So it's not confirmed that it's April 19th. All we know is that it is a 45-day theatrical release window. So we'll find out, at least on Sunday, what the box office projection is going to be. It sounds like people are still saying it's 100+ million for opening weekend for the Batman.
I'm not
apparently
surprised.
It did a fairly well Thursday. It was like $21 million.
Not surprised.
It's
the first Batman movie in forever. I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Kubi Malik called you out. He said, I think there's a post-credit scene, a blue screen with the word video stop at the upper right corner.
Oh, mine. Oh.
You're still here?
You're still here. Like, what are you doing? Go. It's over. Go.
All right, Trey.
So is the Batman film worth seeing, or can you wait on for HBO Max? Now, call me a theater shill, sure, but I'm always a big believer that at least for a big film, blockbuster of a film, it's always best to see it in theater because there's just something about the experience of hearing better sound quality. Now, if you have your own home theater system, then go ape shit, but there is something about, like, for me, because I care about audio, because me being a music guy, I like going to a Dolby theater when I want to watch a film because I like to hear the rumbles of the seats.
It's really the only way I watch movies now.
Yeah. Like, as you noticed with Spider-Man No Way Home, Corey, it was worth seeing that in a Dolby theater, because you got the rumbling and the explosions and felt it in your seats and stuff like that. And with something like Godzilla versus Kong, like hearing the monsters roar and it's shaking your seat every time they stomp, like totally worth, the experience of that. With the Batman, do you need to see it in something like Dolby? Probably not. But I mean, there were moments where like you can feel like when the Batmobile turns on and you feel the rumble of the engine, like, yeah, that was cool. There were some great things like that, but was it absolutely necessary? Like, did it improve my experience on a level where, yeah, it's worth spending an extra $6 to see it in Dolby? Yeah. And I say yeah because it's kind of like it's up to you. If audio is not a big deal for you, then no, don't see it in Dolby. Go see it in like IMAX or something, or see it in a regular screen. But I think audio always helps. And I think I heard something that AMC theaters actually raised the prices for you to go see the Batman because, hey, it's the Batman. They know people are just going to go see it, so they cracked up the ticket prices so they can make more money on it. That's kind of shady shit, but I get it. Supply and demand, right? So I mean, Corey, honestly, I would say yeah, see it in a theater. Get the full cinematic experience for it. I don't think you have to spend $20 a ticket like I did, to see it in Dolby. Like, you probably would get just about the same experience as I did with seeing it just in a regular theater or maybe even IMAX. Because I know they did film some of the shots through IMAX, so it might be worth that to see it on a bigger screen. But yeah, I think it's a film worth seeing. I think it's a solid Batman film, solo Batman film that it's definitely worth, checking out in the theaters,
Interesting.
And plus there's a ton of stuff that I think people are going to spoil after this weekend to where.
Well, I already told you that Sunday, whether I go see it or not, I'm going to be on the channel. So
yeah.
Either way, it will be spoiled for me. I'm just trying to debate on whether or not I care enough for this one to be spoiled for me. Let's see what the chat is saying.
Yeah, what does everyone in the chat think?
By the Beard of Zeus says theaters. My boy Batan says in theaters, it's worth it. Baby Girl says see it in theaters. Unless you live at Skywalker Ranch, I'd say it's best to see it, theatrically.
Yeah, right. Probably, yeah, with George Lucas.
Dadpool says, you're welcome to come home and join us on our big 55-inch and watch Adam West movie with our Yamaha sound system.
I'll stick with my 75-inch, Dad, and my sound system.
We'll have Chicago deep dish and whiskey.
Oh, shit. Well, now you win.
The
now I'm coming over.
By the Beard of Zeus, he says, one word, Trey, Batmobile. And I'm not going to lie, you got me a little excited when you said you felt the rumble.
Okay, so here's one thing I will say before we say El Necron's thing. When I first saw the picture of the Batmobile, I was like totally like, that's stupid. Like, it looks dumb. Like, that's not a Batmobile. That's just a muscle car.
There ain't nothing wrong with that, big fellow.
Well, I know there's not, because I love a muscle car. Like, one of my dream cars, other than a Batmobile, is a Chevy Camaro, like 1967, 1969 Camaro. And when you see the thing, it's like, it's actually a really badass car. Like, I mean, it's very practical, very real. Like if you thought the Tumbler was a real car, and technically every Batmobile has been real, but in terms of like what would be realistic, that car would be, and it's actually pretty cool. It looks really cool. I can't wait to see how they expand upon it as his, resources maybe improve, or his, he realizes he needs to upgrade it. I can't wait to see what he does with that. And hopefully he kind of makes it a little more threatening looking in terms of like, and I don't think he needs to add like bat wings to it, but something like from the Joel Schumacher films, but like something a little more that makes it Batmobile,
Yeah, no, I hear you. Necron says no one should feel guilty for seeing the Batman. We love Snyder, but comics never keep the same team forever. And I totally get that, and I agree with that statement. I would say for me, I'm just bitter about knowing that this was supposed to be Batfleck's movie.
Yeah.
I
understand that.
Let's see. Integra said there's 10 live action Bat films now. In my opinion, Batman and Robin 1997 was the only one now we're seeing. Definitely see the Batman. So
not worth seeing for the bat nipples, at least. I mean, so here actually that's kind of a funny thing. Yeah, and Zach is coming back. Hell yeah. So that's actually a funny thing, Integrity. I actually was talking with my brother-in-law yesterday, or was it? No, it was today. And we were talking about no, it was yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday. Sorry. We were talking about how in Batman and Robin, one of the most unnecessary things that Joel Schumacher didn't need to do was close-up shots during their suit-up scene. And my brother was like, "What are you talking about?" I was just like, "Let me show you." And of course, you get the like close-up of the bat nipples, the close shot of the crotch area, and then the ass shot. Just rubber ass. That's just like funny when you say it like that, rubber ass. It's just like, what was the point of that? Like, there was no need for that. Maybe the 90s. I mean, I was born in 94, but like maybe there was weird things going on in the 90s where, nipples were trending, and I don't know, like that was like the cool thing or just black rubber. But like, that was just weird and obnoxious. And I even showed like how they did the Batgirl thing, because my brother-in-law, he didn't believe that like Batgirl was like wearing kind of like a weird thong suit thing, and sure enough, close shot right up to it, and it's like, told you, it's just a weird suit. Batman and Robin was just a weird film.
So
completely understand why they kind of shut down the franchise for a bit. What'd you say about?
By the beard of Zeus says, it's like Mikey said, we're going to have Snyder stuff, and over here we're going to have Reeves stuff. It's like having different sets of graphic novels by different authors. And while I get that, and I appreciate that, the way I prefer watching movies or television shows is I'm a binger. I like to binge watch it. So like you recall, Trey, when we watched The Office together, or when I watched The Office with you per se, we binged it together. And I'm one of those guys where if I'm watching a TV show or a movie series, I want to stay involved in that world as much as possible. I'm not going to be watching multiple TV shows all at once. I'm going to stick to the one, get it out of the way, or not get it out of the way, enjoy it, but stay completely involved in that one, and then move forward. So, not saying that I would never watch the Batman. It's more of I want to stick to the Snyderverse right now, and that's kind of the mode that I'm in with it, and and so on.
You like what you like.
The thing that, and I'm not saying that I wouldn't like the Batman. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that Robert Pattinson Sparkle Bats may surprise me. Clearly, the one thing I tell you I am excited about, the few things I am excited about, is Catwoman, Penguin, and the music. You kind of got me on that. Now, Batman brought up something that I thought was interesting. He said, if I didn't already have a different preferred theater chain, I would boycott AMC for a stunt like that. Where I live, we don't have an AMC, so I will not be seeing it in AMC, but I'm curious what happened. He followed up and said, I respect people who choose not to watch the movie, but I don't respect pirating it. And by no means am I suggesting pirate it. If I wasn't to see it in theaters, it would be not until April 19th or 20th when it comes out on
That's
HBO
just based,
Max.
I think, Batman is kind of continuing a conversation him and I were having on another person's channel where they were saying that like they love Batman and DC, but they didn't want to support Warner Brothers, so they were going to pirate, the Batman, which I'm not for that. You're going to do what you're going to do. I can't control what they're going to do, but like I went to school, I went to college, and one of my classes that I did was advanced poli-sci, and I actually wrote a music copywriting law with my professor, who I think actually used it at one point for Colorado state law. There was something like that, or used it as a basis. And so I did a lot of research on copywriting and, people who pirate music. So for me, I don't want you stealing, when some of that money goes to those artists, in this case, those film crews and stuff like that. So I'm not for that. I mean, but I'm not going to stop you, because I can't stop you. It's not like I can hack into your computer, like banned,
So, Cupid Malik says, Trey, if you would rank the Batman, would you put it at number 1 or within the big 5? Obviously, we've kind of steered away from this because we don't want to get into too much of the spoilers. But I guess let me ask you, let me ask you, is this a question that you would answer?
I won't say like what position it's in, but would I say, is it a top 5 film?
Top 5 Batman film. And so maybe let's say solo Batman film.
So, if you're saying solo Batman film, then absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
It's in top.
Now let's make it a little bit difficult and spread it out into the, Snyderverse side of things. Does it still fall into that top 5? Because obviously, I'm assuming when you're thinking top 5 solo, I'm assuming you're thinking of all the Dark Knight. So Christian Bale's series. So 1, 2, 3, right then and there. So 4 would be the Batman, and then or somewhere, not saying the number. And then I'm not sure what the 5th one you have in there. Is that you like Batman Returns, or no? What's the other one that you like a lot?
Batman Forever.
Yeah, Batman Forever. That's it.
I do like Batman Forever. I don't think it deserves the amount of flack that it gets.
Yeah.
But I think what part of the Batman Forever film is apparently, like we've talked about before, there is a Joe Schumacher cut that's far darker in that one, and I would love to see that, because I mean, for the 90s, that's what you also have to take the time period and kind of judge it from there, because if you judge it from now, some things don't age very well. But for that film, if you take it in the 90s and what was superhero films then it was actually a fairly good Batman film. Val Kilmer was a fairly good Bruce Wayne and Batman. They just did kind of some silly things with Jim Carrey's Riddler. They really kind of based him off of the Riddler that was from the 60s series and stuff like that. The Batman Forever is not a bad one. But if I'm thinking of that, if you incorporate Zack Snyder stuff where Batman's not quite the main dude, the only dude,
Batman v Superman.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I think it could be. Yeah, I think it could be. I think I would have to label all the Batman films out and then kind of really piece together. I would have to visually look at it to see if it would be top 5. But I think it's in the conversation. Yeah.
Interesting. Let me ask you this, because a lot of people, just about everybody, said see it in theaters. I think there was one that said it wasn't spectacular. You could wait till HBO Max, or maybe 1 or 2. Relatively fairly pro seeing it in the theaters. Let me ask you this. Obviously, with any movie, there's an excitement level of being in the theaters. There's the crowd around you that are like, ooh, laughing, or like, oh, shit, like those types of, being in the moment with the crowd. Is this something that you kind of like, you see YouTube videos of like, oh, Marvel fans on opening night watching the end game reaction, or their No Way Home, like, oh, like where it's not just, it's the experience of watching it with a group of DC fans.
Okay. Very interesting that you asked that, because I didn't think about that.
Mm-hmm.
At least in my theater was pretty sold out. Was it completely sold out? No, I would say it's right about 95% sold out. But in terms of reactions, there was no one had a cheer moment. No, there was no one going like the collective theater. No one was like, oh yes. I never heard anyone do that. And I would say there's not really a moment like that in this film. There's not really a get up and be like, yes, I mean, it's very much a story driven film. It's taking you for a ride rather than fan service, kind of thing.
So for example, we last live stream, we were talking about the Oscars and how what was the category, clap moment,
fan favorite, and cheer moment.
Cheer moment. So there is not necessarily a cheer moment in this film.
No, not really. I mean, unless if you're like, so no one cheered in my theater. I don't know how it was for anyone else. But like I said, there wasn't really a moment for you to cheer. I mean, I could see people maybe cheering the moment the Batmobile shows up, because it is a really cool moment. At least when you see it in action, it's a really cool moment. Like that scene in the trailer where you see the Batmobile come through the fire and Colin Farrell's Penguin is just like, oh shit. That's a moment where I could see people be like, oh yeah, like Batman. Because that is a really cool moment. But in terms of, is there like a moment where like, oh, Batman, like he's here? Like, no one really had that. Like, you're just very much the moment you get stuck in with the film, it's just too dark and grungy for there really to be an appropriate moment to clap, and that's not anything against this film. It's just how it was done. There's just not very much. I mean, it's not like Zack Snyder's Justice League when, you see the entire Justice League together, on top of that nuclear tower thing,
Okay. So there's not a cheer moment, you say. And that's what a lot of people are saying. It's not a yay movie. It's not like No Way Home. No really cheer moments. Nikon brought up, I'm assuming it's a grim movie, and kind of what I would like to kind of bring up then, my next question would be, does it give that depressing vibe after watching this movie? So like similar to how we felt after watching The Joker, for example.
Where it ends depressing?
And it doesn't necessarily have to end depressing, do you get just a depressed just vibe the other time where you're just like, God, man, this is thick, like it's heavy. I can't really breathe the entire time. It's you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. It is a very heavy film. I mean, it definitely. I mean, Bruce Wayne he's a grim, moping, brooding dude the entire time. Like this, like in terms of like, does he have like the iconic Batman smirk that happens very briefly with Robert Pattinson? Like there's never a moment where he really smiles. Like he is definitely a very brooding guy the entire time. I mean, and he's, like I said, it's Kurt Cobain. Kurt Cobain didn't really smile. He was just very much in his zone and in his thoughts, and that's this Bruce Wayne, very much in his thoughts and a man on a mission to where he doesn't allow himself to have another life. You know, he doesn't allow, you know,
Interesting.
happiness into his life, because in his mind, it's like his mission's not done. You know, he has a mission, and until he completes that mission, which could claim his life, you know, he doesn't give shit. You know, he's gonna do it.
I think the other thing that I would like to ask, and so, and obviously don't answer this question. I'm going to blow you up. Obviously, to me, don't answer this question, but to me, there's a never a real feeling just by the way you're explaining it and the way I'm seeing the comments that you're like, yeah, that's my Batman, you know, like, and again, don't answer. I'm just looking at your facial expressions, trying to get my own spoilers here. Okay. No, I guess let me ask this question now, and I would love to see the fans and the chat kind of chime in here. Again, just a reminder, everybody, we are the Batman. This is the Batman no spoiler review and reaction. A lot of people are saying, yeah, it's a solid movie, but not a masterpiece. I guess in one word in the chat, and I'd also like to hear your answer too, Trey. But in one word in the chat, give me the one reason for those who said it's worth seeing in the theater. Just the one reason you are telling me to see it in the theater. And if it's you like Robert Pattinson as Batman, just type in Batman. If it's Catwoman, type in Catwoman. If it's the music or something else, you know, like try to keep it to as a low amount of words, because we don't want to spoil anything by any means. Don't pull a Preston. This is the Batman no spoiler review and reaction. And I would also say, you know, I'm sure, you know, obviously, okay, Bat Fanatic, you know, I see what he posted already. And I'm just going to remind people that I'm a Superman fan too, but I am curious why to see people, you know, obviously there's going to be quite a few of you out there because it's Batman. I'm going to go see it. So just like you, Trey, you're not the Bat Channel if you don't go see this movie. So
yeah,
I guess if you'd like to start, Trey, what was, you know, and I know you're going to say the Batman, but let's get past the Batman because you're the Bat Channel. What's the one thing that you thought was super special about this movie, and the one word that is the reason I should go see it?
It's a fresh take on the character, in terms of Bruce Wayne, especially, to where it will either be for you, you'll be able to connect to it or not. So it's different in that aspect. I did really like the detective noir element. I hope they expand upon that in the next film, because it felt like a comic book. Like,
so for you, it's the plot of it being a detective film. It's a different. You don't really get very many detective movies out there. It's a detective film.
Yeah, and I get the sense that it's, you know, it almost falls into that weird thing where, like, you know, like how sometimes the sequel film, like the film number 2, is usually
darker,
not the greatest film, because it's building to something.
Yes.
To the grandness of the film.
Yes.
It almost felt like this was that film, to where it's a good film, but you should see it because it's leading to something that's going to, if they execute in the sequel, that's going to be awesome.
That's the exact vibe that I've been getting all throughout the night, hearing you talk, seeing people in the chat, that, you know, it almost seems like the Dark Knight, you know, in between, you know, kind of a, you know, grim, you know, take on things, or, you know, like, it's not a happy ending, which is crazy, because, you know, firstly, those, and I'm saying not a happy ending in the sense of, like, to me, it kind of seems like this isn't a standalone film. like it needs to have more because your Batman isn't developed by any means. Is that right? Or obviously
there's
without
definitely much growth to be had.
Okay.
Like, and I guess that's kind of the interesting thing too when you think about, like, if you watch the Nolan trilogy, like Batman, he really doesn't grow in the Nolan trilogy until the third film. Because in the second film, like he doesn't really learn a lesson other than he realizes Batman has to be more than just a person fighting crime. Like he has to like he can be the symbol. He can be whatever Gotham needs him to be, right? And I mean, but is that a lesson he learns? No, I mean, because in Batman Begins, he does whatever is necessary to save Gotham, obviously without breaking that code, even though he does with Ra's al Ghul, and because he kills Ra's al Ghul. Like, you can't deny it. Like, in the court of law, that would be considered a murder, and with, it's not really until Dark Knight Rises where he learns kind of the lesson of where he has to be willing to give up his mission to have a life, to be okay to let the legend of Batman continue on so that he can be a new person and honestly finally live, just finally enjoy himself, like imagine spending the rest of your life brooding all the time. And in this film, I wouldn't say his character arc is drastic until the very end. And even then, it's kind of like you have to wait and see where that leads to in the second film to really appreciate. I feel like this is very much a film that you may appreciate more once you see the sequel.
All right, Trey. So, with the help of Dadpool, I think this is a great follow-up question. Here's the real question, Super Bro Corey with Bat Host Trey. And will the Bat Host Trey include an image from the new Bat movie in his show open or production?
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Because if you think about it, we even included Bat Nips.
We did, but that was important to us because we were trying to showcase that this was a channel of all Batman.
Exactly.
And now that we've seen the film, we'll probably update the opener a little bit. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and then he's
now part of the Bat family. No matter how we, if you like it or if you don't like it, Pattinson has solidified his place.
I already know where we're going to. I already know where we're going to insert him.
The vengeance part.
No, the scene where he's walking in the trailer where he's walking to
and the
board
symbol
in.
Turns into the Batman.
No. Well, he's like they're reading the riddle and he's slowly walking towards toward him. Yeah. That scene in the trailer. So, well, here I am, and then we're just gonna go right. And it's just gonna be the new. We're going into the new Batman. We're switching it over, everybody. Yeah. Let's take a look at what the chat's saying. Batdan says B-, good, but
Batdan, I feel like you've changed your score.
Like
I know it's been like B-. I thought it was like a B+ one day.
Bat Fanatic says because it's Batman, which I understand that.
Because it's Batman. I think that was a Super Cafe joke right there.
Yeah. Batdan said action scenes. Okay. Batman and by integrity. That's what I was thinking. Batman, make the Batfleck movie. Baby Girl says for the characters. Great response there. By the Bearded Zeus, I give it a B. Trevor H should say solid film, not a masterpiece, but really good. I've seen a lot of people say that. Restore the Snyderverse guy. I'm right there with you, pal. It's a unique version of Batman, which that's kind of intriguing. Yeah. Kubi Malik says, I guess I'll wait for Batman to be available on streaming in Indonesia, so I'll hold my opinion for it. So out of curiosity, is Indonesia able to see Batman right now? Batdan says, I'll give it a B-, minus. Pattinson was a great Batman, I have to admit. I wasn't sure how he'd be, but he was great. Okay, integrity. It is not a Nolan rehash. Mm-hmm. By the Bearded Zeus, it's another case of would it have been better as long-form storytelling as a series. Interesting. and he mentioned, I believe earlier, or somebody mentioned earlier, would it be better to see, the detective side of things in a series rather than a Bat movie? And I think that's a great question there, kind of like a CSI type thing,
Yeah, I'll be honest when I say I think Matt Reeves was right for keeping this film 3 hours long. Could it have been cut in areas? Maybe, but at the same time, it's a detective noir. It's going to be a long film because of that, because you really have to take the time to explain things in a detective film. So would that work best in a series? Maybe, but as this film proves, you can certainly do it in a film too, but it's just gonna have to be a longer film. I don't mind long films like general audience people do. I mean, obviously I can sit through Zack Snyder's Justice League and I've watched that film over 20 times,
Zeus says the cast and score and cinematography is all excellent. Batman grows by the end of the movie in this one.
Yeah.
Necron says, just like the Snyderverse, it's leading to something greater.
Yeah.
Zeus says it's like Nolan's trilogy made a baby with Batman 89 while listening to Nirvana and smoking a cigarette in the rain. Cheap
That's a good analogy.
Not sure. Hey,
will you add? Oh, by add Ian Glenn into the opener?
Yeah. Pattinson. Yeah. What is your answer to that?
I think but I did add video game Batmans. Did I ever add? Well, technically, Kevin Conroy's I don't think we added the animated series though of Batman, have we? I don't know. I really don't like Ian Glenn's Bruce Wayne. So, I mean, that's really all he's been. He hasn't been Batman. He's just been Bruce Wayne, really. We've never seen him in the Batsuit, I think. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll have to think about it.
Integrity says Pattinson made his mark, no doubt. I still prefer Keane and Affleck, but I'm happy to have more options.
Yeah.
Batman says was never a B plus. I had it as between C plus, B minus, and decided it was a B minus after sleeping on it. And I think that's important. You have to really take something in. So the Batman was great. Was surprised by it. Pattinson is great as much as it. I've still Ben Affleck as my favorite live action Batman, and Integrity says Batman and Gordon working together was a highlight. No, that's all great information.
I guess would this help you out, Corey? That I would be willing to see the Batman again. It's not one of those films where it's I don't want to see it again. Once was enough for me. No, I would like to see it again.
Let me ask you this then, Trey. Because we all know how you see movies that you really like. You said you'd see it again. Yeah. Would you see it again in the movie theaters? Would you pay the extra bucks to go back to it?
Probably.
Yeah,
probably, but I say probably as in I probably would. Do I want to spend the movie ticket again? Not really, but I mean, luckily for me, I also have my AMC movie pass because of my work, so I can see the movie for free next time, now, but I will have to do it on a day where it's not busy at a theater to go see it. So I might do that, rather than with Jurassic World or Godzilla King of the Monsters and BVS, I went to see it in theaters, paying my own ticket multiple times because I really dug it.
Interesting.
With the Batman, it's kind of I do want to see it again, but it kind of sucks that I would have to pay for a ticket if so, But I don't mean that so negatively. I'm just saying it's not a film that I need to see 4 times in the movie theaters like I did with Jurassic World and Godzilla King of the Monsters,
Let me ask you this, Trey. Necron says, will Courtney Love be playing Harley Quinn in the sequel? Do you think, I guess don't spoil anything but could you see Courtney Love being Harley Quinn?
Let me look up Courtney Love real quick, if I'm thinking of the correct person. Fortunately, when I heard Courtney Love, the first person that popped up in my mind was Courtney. No. Instantly no.
Why not?
Too old.
Yeah.
Maybe for the Joker. I don't know.
She's kind of crazy. Oh, I hope Mr. Freeze will be the next villain.
Interesting. I'll have thoughts about the sequel of what direction they're going in for our spoiler review on Sunday. because I think I have a good idea where they're going. They hinted at something that I think not a ton of Batman fans know about or have read, but they definitely, it's setting that up.
I'm not going to lie, that's a great take there.
Think about it, Super Recording, $20 for gas to see Adam West with deep dish and whiskey hair pants. Dad, you gotta stop, man. You can't bribe him with food or whiskey. I mean, that works for me, but like
Snyder haters have a universe now. The Reeves verse should expand the Batworld, while the Snyderverse should close out the team up stuff and with 2 films, 1 production, Zack Snyder Justice League 2 and 3. I'd also would like to see a Batfleck solo film with Deathstroke, another Man of Steel, and then do I want a 3rd Man of Steel? Yeah, I want a 3rd Man of Steel. Damn right I do.
Yeah, hell no. Yeah, hell yeah.
Can I get 5 Man of Steels? I'll take it all. Mr. Freeze needs on-screen redemption.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I still want to see other villains that we haven't seen. But what
killed the dinosaurs?
The Ice Age.
Oh, that's fantastic! Somebody Zeus posted that right after. That's great.
That's awesome, guys. Well, hopefully that convinced some of you. If you're interested,
that's Kurt Cobain's crazy wife. Okay.
Oh, I didn't realize Kurt Cobain was married. I didn't know they were.
No, I thought she may have, but I wasn't sure. That'd be fantastic, though. Personally, I like.
That's interesting. Yeah, I had no idea that they were actually together. Interesting.
Bottom line, if Zaslav is not done 5 or 10 years from now, we should all have a Reeves trilogy and a Zack Snyder Justice League trilogy on our shelves. So that's great to hear from people. They would like to see a trilogy of this. Yeah. What about King Tut? That's a great question as well.
Some characters are better left forgotten in the past.
Whoa. If Mr. Freeze needs a redemption, then King Tut. King Tut needs a redemption.
Revamp that character a bit, modernize it. I don't think King Tut has been in the comics even for a very long time. So
I'm debating, Trey, if I want to tell people that if I'm going to see it now or if I'm going to wait and just leave it as a surprise on Sunday. I'm not sure.
Leave it as a surprise. Well, actually, I don't know. I feel like after me kind of talking about this video, we should know if I convinced you or not, if it was worth seeing or if I confirmed your doubts.
What is going on? And where is Andy? And what is going on?
We need an answer.
Well, it is. But see if you can follow me here. It isn't.
Oh. So it is, and it isn't.
Hold on to your butts.
I would say, mind you, this is a tough one. I would say,
call in the big guns. Call in the big guns. He needs more convincing.
By no means do I think that she convinced me with the Batman. Oh. I'm going to say that. I think Robert Pattinson alone, I still hold tremendous doubt with Batman. The thing that I would say is Zod, what's up, brother?
Brother's out. Dude, I'm so sorry I missed your live show today. I know you're having a cool show.
I popped on right before we started ours, and I was only hearing what Ashley said, but
yeah.
Just to catch you up, Zod, I have not seen the Batman Trey has. He's spent
Literally
about 2
saw him
hours.
and ran right over to do the show.
Yeah, spent about 2 hours and 50 minutes so far, as well as the fans in the chat tonight, trying to see if I would convince me to go see the show. And again, all with no spoilers. So it's been the Batman no spoiler review and reaction. I would say, and I think the best way I'm going to answer, by no means did any of you sell me on Robert Pattinson as Batman tonight. I don't. That wasn't there for me.
Still
too much doubt. The thing that I am curious about is Catwoman and the Penguin. Those two are very. Zod Rider came in and said thanks for coming, Corey. Wait for HBO MAX. So Zod, to catch you up to, the majority of the crowd said see it in the theaters. So I think what I'm going to say. I think I'm going to say I'm excited. I am curious. I don't want to say excited. I'm curious about the Catwoman. I'm curious about Colin Farrell as the Penguin. Probably the one area you did actually sell me on was the music, and we both know how big we are on the music side of things. I think because I trust you and I trust everybody in the chat tonight, including Zod and everything like that. Majority of everybody said at least see it in the theaters. I think I'm going to see it in the theaters.
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm! Wait. Everybody calm down!
I got it.
Yeah, no, I don't think you. By no means do I think you did enough to get me on Patterson.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm going to. Okay, you guys all know I'm one of those guys. Like I said, it was Tobey Maguire, and when Andrew Garfield took over and Tobey didn't get his fourth, I boycotted Andrew, and we all know Andrew is a great Spider-Man. Loved the movies after I saw them years later. I would say that. Oh damn! Zod says, "Try to stay awake. Plenty of caffeine and snacks." I dozed off twice.
Damn, Zod. I think it was that bad.
I love it, Zod. I love it. I would say, I think, the experience of going to the movie theater and honestly doing something this weekend is probably helped a little bit to that. So, but again, by no means should you think your convincing skills are good enough for that.
Hope starts with an H, stupid.
Okay, stop.
Face it. You're late.
You're wearing eye makeup.
Fuck you.
Honestly, I would rather watch him as Batman, bro.
Oh my God, no, that's too mean to
absolutely.
Pattinson. By no means, I don't think he was the highlight of the film.
Where are the other drugs going, Governor?
Hurtful.
Dude, I'm telling you, you guys all specifically said that there's no wow moment in this film. There's no cheer moment, which we've been talking about the past few days with this Oscar fan favorite cheer moment. So, like that's what you want from superhero films, right? Isn't there a time where you're like, yeah, man, you get it? Yes, that's fantastic.
I'm trying to think. Was there a cheer moment for you in BVS though, or was it because this was really peeling back the layers of the character?
Batman v Superman?
Yeah.
There was a huge cheer moment.
What moment?
When they all came together. We saw the
okay.
Trinity.
When you see the Trinity together, okay, that's fair. I'll take that. That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they all start working together. We finally see the Trinity together, and they're going to town. Man, yeah, absolutely. I'm surprised
you're right
you even
about
asked
that.
that question.
I totally spaced that scene.
That's what I'm saying. You know, I'd be curious. You know, from a superhero movie, when haven't you had a cheer moment? Now we need some Jeopardy themes. Yeah, and exactly. And we mentioned this before. Somebody said all the cheer moments are in the trailer.
That's yeah. Some of the best moments are definitely in the trailer. Yeah,
which we said. You know, we talked about being worried about this. That you know, I think it was a DC Fandom or whatever last year where we were all, you know, like, oh man, this is looking like it's not going to be that fantastic. You know.
Yeah. So, okay. So final answer, I guess, is you are going to see it.
It is, and it isn't.
It is, and it is. I'm still confused. Is it a sparrow with a machine gun or not?
Yeah. Okay, great. Yeah. Yep. Warehouse scene. That's another fantastic.
No, I mean, the warehouse scene was badass, but I don't think anyone was like, at least in my theater, no one was like, oh my God, yes, Batman's fucking up all these people. You know, I think people were just like, oh shit.
No,
you know,
no. Man, I am defending Batfleck more than you are right now.
Don't even try to pull that game of...
1 second. Here it is. Because when he was doing that, you know, warehouse scene, and he busts in and he saves who?
Martha.
Why did you say that name?
Jesus.
Yeah. I guarantee you that wasn't a cheer moment for you where he takes out the guy with the flamethrower and, you know, saves Martha. It was literally...
Damn, that
dude,
was a moment for... But to see that...
It was literally Andrew Garfield's No Way Home
because I like Dark Knight Returns, and that was like a moment straight out of Dark Knight Returns, you know, where he breaks through the wall and has a machine gun. You know?
This sounds like, again, I'm not, which is crazy to me because I feel like I'm not seeing this for Batman, which is funny because the movie's called The Batman. I'm literally going to see this because I trust all of you guys. I trust you, Trey, mostly the chat and our loyal fans. But I trust you, Trey. But I would say that the theme is, again, I'm a Superman guy, you know. I can go without seeing a Batman movie. I don't have to see a Batman movie. That's me, especially if I think it's going to be a Robert Pattinson Batman. I am very super suspicious about this, bro. Very super suspicious on this. The theme that got me is, one, the fans and all of you talking, and two, I'm curious about Catwoman, and I'm curious about the Penguin. And if it wasn't because I'm a little hungry right now, so that could be causing some of this. I'm like craving popcorn, so
like I said, we hungry.
So that may be helping influence, but you know, Zodwriter says there are no scenes in the Batman comparable to the warehouse scene.
That's fair. That's fair.
So,
I mean, that's still the greatest Batman fight scene of all time.
Yeah. So it's, you know, I think, yes, I will see it.
My wife literally just messaged me and said, so much for a short show.
Right.
We're having a good conversation, honey.
and this wasn't a spoiler review. So, you know, I like I said, I am going to go see it, and which, you know, Zodwriter is definitely, you know, making me kind of, you know, rethink what I'm saying. Don't get me wrong. But I think I will go see it in theaters, try to gauge the fan reaction to everything, even though there is no fan reaction. And then I will try my best. I'm going to look at the camera while I say it, so you guys don't think I'm lying. I will try my best on Sunday to come with or go to the movie with an open mind and try not to bring all of my hatred and just distaste for this movie already.
Well, Corey, let me. This is for you. I hear what you're saying. I know you're going to give it 110%.
Oh man, you just gotta play one game at a time and go out there and give 110%, and you just gotta show that you want it more than they do when chips fall where they may.
Thank you very much. Back to you, Jerry and Dan.
So I guess how I'm going to say this. And I was totally ready to be unprepared for Sunday's show of the actual spoiler review because, like I said, it doesn't matter.
Initially, you were like, "Hell no, I'm not seeing the movie," but because of this, you're on the fence about seeing it.
I would say if HBO Max fucked up and released it at the same time, I would definitely see this movie tomorrow on HBO Max. Since I'd like to be somewhat prepared for Sunday because you gave me enough to even watch it on HBO Max, I will watch it in the movie theaters. That's Corey's take, Super Bro Corey's take, and we'll go from there. It's sad that I'm more curious about the villains, and of the movie. They shouldn't even named it the Batman. They should just say Catwoman. Colin Farrell as Penguin.
Lenny Kravitz was calling it that.
Was she really?
Yeah, when Zoe Kravitz's father was calling it the Catwoman film, so it's funny that you said that.
I want to get away.
Yeah.
I want to fly away.
Guys, seriously, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. I know it was a late night show than we normally do, but I just figured it was a good idea to literally do a quick non-spoiler review while it was fresh in my mind. There's a lot of cool things I want to talk about. A lot of things that I noticed from comics that they didn't mention as the inspirations of this film. And I have a pretty good feeling of where they're going to take it in the sequel just because of where they ended the film. And there's a lot I want to talk to you about in the spoiler review, especially with Bruce Wayne. I really want to break down Pattinson's take on that character. And I thought it was very interesting, different, and whether it's for you or not, I think it's worth discussing about as we get to it, and also some other secret things that the Batman film has. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. If you can, please hit that like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode, because we love having you guys here. It's always good seeing you guys, and our chats are getting all the more fun, and it's all because of you guys, because I know you guys are sharing the links to our videos, so we're getting more new people in the chat, and it's wonderful seeing. I thank you guys, everyone who is sharing our videos. Thank you so much, because seriously, you're helping us build our Bat family community, the Gotham Guardians and the Arkham Adversaries. It's all because of you guys, so keep up the hard work, keep pushing and supporting this channel. It means a lot. But thank you guys so much. Don't forget to tune in weekly.
Same Spider-Man channel.
Don't you do it, Corey. Same bat time. Same bat channel.
How are we closing this tonight, by the way?
Batman. I don't know. Just close it. Just do the Batman closer.
The Batman closer.
The Batman closer. Don't do it, Corey. Don't do it. Just here you go. This is how you close it.
Affleck was the bomb. It's Batman, yo.
Word, bitch. Batfleck like a motherfucker. What's up now?
Ben Affleck was the bomb as Batman, yo.
I guess we'll find out on Sunday when I give my opinion.
We'll find out Sunday.
Have a great night, guys. We'll see you later.
Have a good one, guys. I'm gonna walk through that door just like Batman did. I don't know what we're talking about yet, but
just end the show.
Down the chimney? Does Batman come down the chimney?
For God's sakes, man.
I'm telling you need to get a better, closer, because all the ones you say I play, don't have a.
I will get you. See, now we're doing this conversation on a live show.
Yeah, exactly. The fans need to know that you need to make a quality closer, just like the way you made a quality opener. And
oh, damn the devil! Damn the devil to hell! Oh, shoot!
You know what? Zod Rider said he walks. That's it. Slowly. So
no, Corey, this is for you. This is for you.
Question. How do we call him? He gave us a signal.
You don't get to play that again.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. He walks. That's it. So, all right, everybody. Thanks for coming tonight. Have a good night. I'm gonna leave like Robert Pattinson leaves.
How do you even know how he leaves? You don't even know.
I'm gonna walk out. Have a good one,
not
guys.
a real DC fan. Well, man, did he just pull a Bee Gees on me? Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. Super Bro Corey is out, along with Trey, your host of the Bat Channel. We'll see you guys Sunday night. Be good to each other. Stay kind. Keep sharing our videos. We'll see you soon. See you later.